Well, there's no beating Marc Marquez in Balaton, is there at all? Pole position last season, sprint win last season, Grand Prix win last season, and another treble looming large for the reigning world champion. He is going to end Ducati's long ban run. The factory Ducati team hasn't won since the Japanese Grand Prix in Motegi last September, on the day that Marc was crowned world champion for the 7th time. It's going to be a 100th victory, surely for the factory Ducati team, and surely for Marc Marquez. It will be his 100th Grand Prix success on a weekend where he has dispelled all doubts about whether he would be able to get back to his best after more operations, more injuries, more setbacks. He is back again.
Surely you would never have imagined when he claimed win number 99 and held his leathers aloft on the podium in Misano, that he'd have to wait this long, that he'd have to go through more surgery en route. But every time you knock Marc Marquez down, he gets back up again and fights back stronger.
He was pushed in the first half of this Hungarian Grand Prix all the way by Pedro Acosta. Acosta has run its course, but he has produced another brilliant ride. Going to be another podium for the KTM star, but there'll be a massive smile on the face of Marc Marquez inside that helmet. Joy, relief, all the emotions that he's been through so many times in his Grand Prix career. What is it again, though, about anti-clockwise tracks with the 33-year-old Spaniard? This is going to be his 35th win here. 33-year-old Spaniard, I should say. Here he goes then into the final sector. This is going to be such a super sweet feeling, isn't it, for Marc Marquez, the reigning world champion with just one corner left. Marc Marquez has had a blast at Balaton Park once again. He wins in Hungary to make it 100 wins for one very special rider, one very special talent. The superstar Spaniard completes the century of victories in Ducati's centenary year and puts his name with Italian Hall of Famers Giacomo Agostini and Valentino Rossi in the exclusive 100 wins club. What a roller coaster ride it has been, of extreme highs and lows since his first Grand Prix victory almost 16 years ago to the day. But a rider blessed with a ton of talent, now has a ton of Grand Prix victories, plenty more to come, I'm sure. Marc Marquez then wins here. He does complete the treble here in Balaton. Pedro Acosta takes second place. Pecco Bagnaia is on the podium for the 3rd race in succession. Agura emerges from all of the first corner chaos to 4th. Top 6 for Marini and Moreira. That's an equal best Grand Prix finish for HRC for Luca Marini. Leccaona got Miller late on for 7th. Miller in the top 10 with Bastianini and Binder. Most MotoGP wins then. Valentino Rossi looking over his shoulder now as Marc Marquez captures his 74th Grand Prix success. Toprak Razgatlioglu takes a best of 11 just behind Brad Binder. Points for Fabio Di Gianantonio. Wasn't his day at all, was it, as he was involved in that first corner chaos instigated by Jorge Martin. But take a bow. In Ducati's centenary year, Marc Marquez reaches a century of wins. The factory Ducati team reach a century of wins. This World Championship defence is now well and truly up and running.
Yeah, on a day where Aprilia imploded, Marc Marquez explodes into life in this 2026 season, a season blighted so much by his physical condition, the injury to his shoulder, another operation, a broken foot, but you can never break the spirit of Marc Marquez. I think the adrenaline is now starting to seep out of him and the fatigue and the pain is starting to kick in, but he will have the reward of a 100th winner's trophy. Pedro Acosta pulls alongside him, teammates next year of course at the factory Ducati team. What a show they put on today, but the victor for the 100th time is Marc Marquez.
He's got the special flag as well to celebrate. 100 wins for one incredible talent. Let's go and get the thoughts of the boss, Davide Tolozzi, with Jack.
What a day, what a weekend for the factory Ducati squad, Davide. 9 months on from that crash in Indonesia, he is once again a Grand Prix winner. What does that say, again, about the character of Marc Marquez?
That he deserves the 9th title he has on the pocket and maybe the 10th.
Hey, do you think that's possible this year now? Is that the full focus?
We still keep every race as a test and a training one, so we'll see.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Fantastic job. As mentioned, Giacomo Agostini, 122 Grand Prix wins. Valentino Rossi, 115 Grand Prix wins. But in his 291st start, Marc Marquez becomes just the third rider in history to reach the magic milestone of a century. Everything he's been through, all of the trials and tribulations, but he just keeps coming back for more, doesn't he? You can't keep a good man down for too long, unfortunately. It's a stat which Pedro Acosta won't thank us for reminding me, because now he is, in terms of podium finishes without a win, the highest number in MotoGP history. He was level with Colin Edwards on 12. He now moves on to 13. A great embrace there between Diogo Moreira and Iker Lecuona.
Yeah,
Boy, did
was
those
punching
two,
the air when he crossed the line, so happy he was with 7th.
they had great Sundays. Brilliant day. Iker Lecuona, well, less than a week ago, he was testing the Honda World Superbike in Aragon when he got the phone call, fancy replacing Alex Marquez? Good job, he was able to answer that call. 5th place then for Luca Marini. That equals his best factory Honda result. Hasn't had too many top 6s for HRC, has he? Has Luca. As Pedro Acosta down 2nd in that Grand Prix. No points for the top 2 in the World Championship after Jorge Martin's big mistake into that first corner. So the gap between the two, probably at the top of the standings, remains at 20 points. But the big mover in round 8 of this year's championship clearly has been Marc Marquez, who reigns supreme once again. For the 2nd year in a row, he has been utterly brilliant here in Balaton.
Why is that? As the track spreads out, if you're right at the very back of the grid, like Cadillac or Aston, they might just come in.
Thank you so much, Ruth. We are just being manoeuvred out the way here as tyres coming off, and then on Kimi Antonelli's Mercedes on pole position. He just gave you a little fist bump there. What did you say to him?
Nothing, we're just, I know Kimi since he started even before F4, so he seems really cool. He seems in the zone. He knows what, remember, he's been winning. So when you're being winning, you come here and you know what to do. The pressure is not as much. You know what I mean? In a way, you know, Max, especially Lewis, they're desperate for a massive result. You know, Lewis wants to win. So when you're Kimi, where you go? You know, you want to stay right, protected into turn 1, and hope if somebody gets a good run, they need to go around you and make it a little harder. So we'll see.
Kimi Antonelli is, at the moment, a driver completely operating without fear. Such courage, such fearlessness. It's incredible to watch. Toto yesterday saying that's part of his age, that he simply doesn't have that pressure and the weight of experience yet that perhaps George Russell has.
Yeah, he hasn't had the failures and the difficulties. Yes, last year was difficult, but it was his first year. He hasn't gone with all the losses and things. So at the moment, this just keeps building confidence. And if somebody doesn't stop him, he's going to win everything.
The atmosphere is ramping up and up and up here. All right, you're Kimi Antonelli. How do you win this off the start? You're Max Verstappen. What are you doing? And if you're the Ferraris, what are you doing?
If you're Kimi, just regular execution. You don't need to do anything fancy. You don't need to overthink it. Max, he needs to pray that they get a good start because they're inconsistent. Lewis is just hoping to get one of those magical Ferrari starts. If he gets one of those magical jumps, Oh my God, turn 1 is going to be insane.
Eyes on turn 1. It is going to be absolutely astonishing. The start is absolutely crucial, and after that, it's down to strategy. Can this teenager do it, Juan Pablo Montoya? Can he win his first Monaco?
Yeah, I think he can. Big thing, Lauren said, watch the temperature of the tires. So we'll see when they do the stops and everything.
A name for the win then?
I'm with Kimi.
Kimi Antonelli to win his first ever Monaco Grand Prix. Or will Max Verstappen spoil the party off the start? The fast-starting Ferraris will be bearing down on the two of them ahead. And this is Monaco. The walls are tight. There's jeopardy around every twist and turn of these streets of Monte Carlo. It's the one that they all want to win. It's the jewel in the motorsport crown. And this is the Monaco Grand Prix.
The 2026 Canadian Grand Prix produced lots of stories.
And the Canadian Grand Prix is underway. Lando Norris to the lead of the Grand Prix.
McLaren's tyre strategy blunder
McLaren gambled and it came undone.
put both papaya cars out of the points.
An absolute disaster for McLaren.
Mercedes wheel-to-wheel racing.
Are they going to make contact? This is delirious racing.
They'll have to give that place back.
Why, mate? You pushed me on.
This one is not done yet.
Russell is coming to a halt. George Russell is retiring from the race lead.
Heartbreak for George Russell. We were treated to old rivals racing hard.
We can do this, guys.
Listen to that.
All of which was concluded by a fourth consecutive win for Kimi Antonelli. Joined on the podium by 11 whole world championships. And now leading the 2026 chase by 43 points. The Gilles Villeneuve was a street style circuit. This is the street circuit. An entirely unique challenge where pole position is so important. But how to win in Monaco? Stay out of trouble at the start and stay out of the barriers until the end. The 2026 Monaco Grand Prix is next. You have to push past that conscious level. You have to get past thinking. You've got to shut your eyes and see if you make it to the other side. The words of Lando Norris, the Formula One world champion, to welcome you to a venue that moves a driver like nowhere else. Good afternoon and welcome to the Monaco Grand Prix. It is round 6 of the Formula One World Championship in 2026. Kimi Antonelli is on pole for the first time here. He said he was shaking after that lap yesterday. But on Grand Prix Sunday, you are welcome to our presentation of this famous race. The Formation Lap is coming your way in a few moments' time around this storied circuit that runs to 2 miles. We'll have 78 laps. We will see whether we can add to minute overtaking that we got last year, just 4 on-track passes, but the cars are different, the regulations are different, and it's the softest tyres in the range for those who are contesting the Monaco Grand Prix. The C5, the C4, and the C3 tyres are the compounds available. By the Mediterranean Sea, it's a stunning day for motor racing, and this is the grid. At the back, we've got Fernando Alonso next to his teammate Lance Stroll. 42 Grand Prix in a row. He's been the lead, Aston Martin. Next up is Valtteri Bottas. He's in 20th, and he goes next to Oliver Behrman. Got unlucky with the timing of the red flag yesterday. Sergio Perez is in 18th. He's next to Esteban Ocon. Couldn't believe he got pipped and got knocked out in Q1. Gabriel Bortoleto is in trouble right now. They pushed him back from green light, and he is mired in the garage. Arvid Lindblad is next. He's 15th. Franco Colapinto is 14th. Then it is Nico Hulkenberg. Now he's slipping back after fine form in practice. All Williams row with Sainz behind Alex Albon, who was close to getting into Q3, but not close enough. Liam Lawson in 10th, Pierre Gasly in 9th for Alpine, winning the battle of the best of the rest. Then come the McLarens. They are celebrating a huge milestone, but from 8th and 7th, not what they were hoping for. Next up, it is George Russell searching for pace, and for the second year in a row, Isaac Hadjar is P5. Then comes Charles Leclerc, who came all in. He was desperate to try and find his way to pole. He hit the barriers. He starts 4th. Lewis Hamilton is in contention from 3rd. And what a battle between these two. Max Verstappen in 2nd, 400ths of a second back from Kimi Antonelli, on pole for the first time in the Principality, shaking afterwards and hoping to convert it into his first win here, in Italy's first win around these streets since Jarno Trulli in 2004. In the commentary box, good afternoon, I'm Alex Jakes. Next to me, Jolyon Palmer, but first of all we say hello to a two-time winner of this great race. DC, tell us how to do it. How do you win the Monaco Grand Prix?
Well, qualifying at the front is definitely going to make your afternoon a lot easier. Ironically, my 2 wins didn't come from pole position. The 1 pole position I had, I managed to get put to the back because the car didn't start on the green flag lap. Hopefully we won't see any of that shenanigans here this afternoon, but getting to that first corner first is hugely important because you get your elbows out and control the race.
Jolyon, with these new regs, with the variation of starts that we've seen this year for Kimi Antonelli, could it be one of the most explosive getaways in modern times in Monaco?
It's never been harder to get off the line from pole position, I think, especially for a driver that has barely had a start this year without losing position. It's the shortest run to the braking zone from pole position. It's curved as well, so it's even less distance for those on the inside. So Kimi's got to just keep basically half a car alongside Max and throw it in there. But his starts have been erratic, trying to get the turbo boost going, trying to not bog it down, trying to get your clutch pedal release and your throttle very steady. It's complicated at the best of times. When you're a 19-year-old on pole in Monaco with everything to lose, I imagine it's pretty tricky.
Yeah, and look, that overhead shot and the rear shot we just saw, Jolyon, shows perfectly how complicated this start-finish straight is. It's not straight.
And that will mean that Lewis Hamilton in 3rd is sort of disproportionately closer to Max Verstappen as well to try and sneak into the fight in a very fast-starting Ferrari.
Green light on the gantry, the formation lap in progress as the field leave the grid and try to get some tyre temperature in what is, for the top 15 on the grid, medium Pirelli tyres. We're expecting a 1-stop to go from the medium to the soft today, and that will be the direction of travel. The shortest lap of the year, degradation not really a concern. Lewis Hamilton next to Charles Leclerc on the order, on the grid in front of us. Can he work with his teammate? Will they work together? Remember, that Ferrari started the year really, really strong. You've got the medium to the hard, you've got the soft to the hard as the 1-stop strategy. You've got a high thread, of course, with the walls of the safety car being deployed, but ultimately, the one thing that Jolyon, you said to me earlier this week, and it seems so obvious, but I want to reiterate to everyone, it's so easy to crash around here.
Well, people kept asking you, what is the big challenge? I know, I get it, Monaco's great, but why is it so hard? And, let's just break it down. It's so narrow. You're driving Formula 1 cars. These things are incredibly quick. My lesson was you can crash on loads of different corners.
Yeah, and I think the average speed last year on the Grand Prix was like 90 odd miles an hour. I think it was over 100 miles an hour in qualifying. So an average of over 90 miles an hour sums up the speed they're going, even if it looks tight and twisty.
And it is a venue where everyone wants the win on their CV. You saw the banner for McLaren there in the tunnel. The team created by Bruce, established by Teddy Mayer, elevated into the McLaren team that we understand today by Ron Dennis, and in recent times the great Mark elevated back to the titles by Zach Brown and Andrea Stella. Congratulations to all at McLaren as they reach Grand Prix 1000. The 19th and final corner, named for the founder of the race, Anthony Nogues. And we find ourselves lining up on the grid. Our commentary box faces the pit lane, a pit lane that is rife with nerves at this stage. The grandstands are full, so is the harbour side, so is every balcony that points onto this circuit. A teenager on pole for the Monaco Grand Prix. He is the championship leader by 43 points.
And just to put in perspective, he's on pole, sitting there, waiting. The Aston Martins are still in front of our commentary box before entering the Rascasse corner. It's going to be a long wait for him. That seems longer than would normally be the case.
2 more cars on the grid as well, so it is going to be a little bit longer. You can see him pull up on pole position, check the mirrors, think, where is everyone else behind me? Come on, guys, collect your thoughts, get your heart rate down, and then start going through your procedures.
Did you used to take a couple of deep breaths before?
It's conscious thoughts, isn't it? It's conscious, like, right, into concentration mode.
It's like Alex here in the commentary. I've just seen him do 3 deep breaths. Therefore, we are ready.
Because this is one of the great occasions in all of sport, and the start is defining. Here come the lights for the Monaco Grand Prix. Formula One goes racing on the street of Monte Carlo. Verstappen barely moves from the front row, and he has seen his Monaco victory chances disappear. It's Antonelli, then it's Hamilton, then it's Leclerc, Hadjar and Russell. One of our contenders for the win did not get off the line, and it's heartbreak for Max Verstappen as Kimi Antonelli leads from Lewis Hamilton, then it's Charles Leclerc, Hadjar Russell and Piastri.
Yeah, straight away we saw the yellow lights flashing on his mirrors. That car went into some kind of reset mode, so it's all over for him. Will we get that car pushed away? As we see our front runners, it was a clean start thereafter.
Gasly has got ahead of Lando Norris as well. That is a change. Max Verstappen did get going.
He's not going quickly though, is he? He's looking like he's coaxing that one through. So an anti-stall that he couldn't recover from or something. It's a wonder no one hit him. The circuit's so narrow, you don't get eyesight from a couple of rows further back, let alone about 18 places further back, but they're all still in it, and Antonelli leads. But he's got a probably bigger problem on his hands now, because the Ferraris in 2nd and 3rd are going to open up a bigger strategic opportunity for themselves.
Antonelli would have been worried about the fast-starting Max Verstappen, but Verstappen not with the machinery to challenge. Down to Sander Vot.
What should I do? Just bring it home, please, Max.
That sounds, well, that message can mean two things. Bring it home to the checkered flag or bring it home to the pit lane.
Max Verstappen, that heartbreak of the moment, and we find ourselves with Behrman, Bottas and Bortoletto in the pit lane.
So tactical move from them to take a pit stop and get onto a different tyre and maybe run the whole race. Front wing change for Behrman as well, so maybe there was a bit of contact in there. Must have been a bit of contact in there. Verstappen pits too, darting for a man on the front row.
Yeah, as we look out from our commentary box, yeah, that car is going to go up on the little trolley and get pushed back into the garage. Would they use it as a test session if they're able to fix whatever that issue was?
Well, we talked about the possibility of there being a dramatic start. We've seen one. One of our contenders from the win eliminated in the opening meters of the Grand Prix. Max Verstappen is back in the garage, and his Monaco Grand Prix of relevance lasted all of a second.
It's just so frustrating as a driver. All of that work, all of that prep. It's a tiring weekend. It's an intense weekend like nothing else. And he has delivered to such a high level, getting that Red Bull onto its joint best start of the year on the front row. I feel his frustration.
Max Verstappen out of the car, out of the race. His first podium of the season in the last Grand Prix. A brilliant battle with Lewis Hamilton. There will be no repeat today. He revelled in being able to get so close. Antonelli needed something exceptional to beat the 4-time champion, but Max Verstappen's out.
So as you see that beautiful overhead drone shot, we can see Kimi Antonelli making his way down to the hairpin. The two Ferraris running line astern. Now, would that be the case of, like, if Leclerc fancies a go?
Incident involving George Russell has been noted. False start. George Russell is having an incredibly difficult weekend in Monaco. He is 43 points back in the World Championship, 25 for a win, and he's been noted for something that high percentage of the time does get penalised.
Norris with the chance on Gasly here. Gasly will have to cover that in the middle of the road. I've got high hopes for some overtaking this year, guys. Call me naive, but it's a different era. We're in a new regulation set. The cars can follow more closely. They have overtake mode enabled to stay faster for a little longer into the Nouvelle chicane. And we're seeing Norris, I think, taking my hope with him as he bounces over the chicane past our commentary box.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, though, Gasly's not a rookie. He knows as you come out of the tunnel, instead of pulling the car back over to the right for braking, if you just run it down the middle, it puts doubt in the car behind. And then, more often than not, they will back out of any attempt. Just looking out front, Antonelli has been left to absolutely bolt away, and that's why I'm asking the question. If that's a strategy of Ferrari, then let's see how it plays out. If that's Hamilton's pace, then I imagine Leclerc will be saying, look, just let me go, let me have a chance, and if it doesn't work out, I'll give the place back.
It's chow from Antonelli at the moment, isn't it? 4 seconds to Hamilton in less than 4 laps. It doesn't make sense for Hamilton to drop away from Antonelli as well. It might make sense for Leclerc to drop back from Hamilton and start to back up the rest of the pack, but there goes the race leader, and into vision comes the chasing pack. Hamilton, then Leclerc and Hadjar. Russell, again, not showing a huge amount of pace at this stage, and he is noted for that start infringement as well, which we haven't seen. But Antonelli, right, the best thing he can do is build up a lead, so long as he doesn't kill his tyres. And that's what he's thinking. It's in my hands, I'm just going to roll away from you guys.
Yeah, so he's at clean air, there's no question about that. But just looking at Russell's time, he's 2 seconds off the back of Hadjar, which will give a bit of disturbed air, but I wouldn't say that's right up his chuff. But he's running, well, Antonelli's running 1.5 seconds a lap quicker.
Well, there was hope down in the paddock earlier on that if we were going to get overtakes, it would be using the boost through the tunnel and then into the Nouvelle chicane. There was speculation about whether the Ferraris would work together to try and apply the pressure. One thing to do that when you're further back, but they are now fighting for the win. Here's the moment and the reason why.
So Verstappen launches, but then goes absolutely nowhere after that initial clutch release. Russell looked like was very far forward in his start box, and already you see Antonelli with his head down, moving away.
Further back, the McLarens very nearly made contact. It allowed Gasly to get past Norris.
Yeah, that pass was after the exit of Saint-Devote, so overhead shot, Verstappen. You see, it does launch and then it goes into like an anti-stall, and then that's it. He's having to do reset.
Yeah, I wonder if that's well, that's here.
Oh, nice. Completely. Guys, what the man?
He's got his sarcasm down to a T, hasn't he? But that is just a power unit not going anywhere. I don't think he did anything wrong from the cockpit. It looked like he was going to get a pretty decent launch.
And the noted moment for George Russell has been reviewed, and this is the best piece of news he's got all weekend. No further investigation.
Rogers outside his grid box.
Yeah, it was the nose of the car was slightly outside the box, but it was on the white line, which I suspect is what the stewards have decided.
Was it the front right, outside on the right-hand side that Lando would have had a look at? That was him getting perilously close to the wall, and we're going to go side by side up Beau Rivage, but yeah, sensible back out of it, because that is one way to put 2 cars in the wall and have a load of others chasing it.
So crucial for Russell, who has seen one of the contenders drop out, and now he can minimise the damage if he can get past Isaac Hadjar. This could have been far worse, but it's not been an easy weekend for the driver, second in the point standings.
It was super marginal, wasn't it, for Russell? I'm not surprised the stewards had a look, especially when Norris has radioed that one in, and we've got another one. It's the curved start, isn't it? So everyone on the outside is just trying to straighten off. Otherwise, you basically, if you start squarely in your box, you move about 6 meters and you take off your left front into the wall. So you have to put a bit of angle on it around here.
Yeah, it's almost like they need to put the lines relative to where the start line is, start-finish line, so rather than actually relative to the box in front.
Yeah, I've never known it to be such an issue with 2 drivers now, experienced heads as well. Sergio Perez under investigation as well.
Thankfully, I never found myself, other than that 2001, never found myself so far down the grid for a start.
It was a long afternoon for you in 2001, DC. But either side of it, glory days.
Yes, indeed. I mean, one of the highest of highs in a Grand Prix driver's career, I'm sure, with one of the least expensive trophies on the calendar. It's supplied by a local trophy maker here in Monaco, who also provide trophies to the Bulls competition and the kids' egg and spoon race.
I love it.
Name and shame, dig them out.
I think I did recently on a podcast, but anyway, it's still greatly prized.
What it symbolises would mean a lot to Kimi Antonelli, who's built a 4.3 second lead, stabilised for a moment. Middle sector last time around, Lewis Hamilton was slightly quicker. Antonelli is responding on this lap as we go on board with the most likely candidate to provide us with an overtake into the Nouvelle Chicane. Lando Norris, winner of the Grand Prix here last year, on pole position here last year. His first Monaco win, on the way to his World Championship, and he's going to be able to study the back of that Alpine for a while. He's going to have to get inventive to clear Gasly.
I quite like the inventive pass around here. I know everyone goes for that Nouvelle Chicane lunge, but it's kind of an easy one to defend, as you said, DC, because you cover the middle of the road.
Tell us the options, Johnny.
Okay, Saint-Devant, I don't think this is even really an option. You're never close enough unless someone's had a horrible exit through Rascasse or something. Then you go up the hill and you've got no chance. The hairpin's very difficult unless someone's really slow through Casino. The Rascasse move is my personal favourite. Charles Leclerc did it a few years ago. I think it was his first year with Ferrari. I think he passed 2 cars, tried for a third, binned it. That's the risk. Every time you go for it, you know you're taking a huge risk. Does Norris want to do that this early on? The big thing that's going to be in his mind is taking a grid penalty to Spain next week, and that's going to be the biggest deterrent. The other one is you can do a little cheeky one in here if someone's backing you up, and we've seen that. I've seen that once successfully and about a dozen times unsuccessfully.
Was it not Jenson Button that did he end up in 2 wheels, or he put someone in 2 wheels?
He nearly launched Pascal Wehrlein into the harbour a couple of years ago, and we saw last year Gabriel Bortoleto making contact with Kimi Antonelli. Kimi Antonelli's second season, really miles ahead of his second season. It's been terrific. It has been mesmeric, and it has been against expectations so far. Norris into Rascasse, getting Palmer excited in the commentary box. No way by at the moment. Antonelli, second year of Formula One. He is trying to win 5 Grand Prix in a row. He is 5.5 seconds ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Charles Leclerc is 3.5 seconds. Watch if that grows any larger. If it becomes exaggerated, it could mean team strategy games for Ferrari, and Isaac Hadjar is currently on for his best finish with the Red Bull team. This is Grand Prix number 6 for him.
So Antonelli's pace out front is so strong that he could pit now and come out in front of Gasly. That's the window he's given himself. 20 seconds, leaving the circuit, pit stop, back out onto track, and you've got Piastri at 19.6 seconds behind Gasly, 24.
Sergio Perez has been given a drive-through penalty for being out of position at the start.
This was an extraordinary penalty.
That's a lot for whatever the distance he must have been out of position.
Has he gone up to the top 10 or something?
Sometimes that's penalised with a time penalty, but the drive-through and the lost time is very painful. He wasn't in contention for points, but it's going to send him to the back, and it shows you how close George Russell was to tumbling out of the points with that penalty.
I wonder if he's taken 16th place. I wonder if, because Bortoleto didn't start there, did he? So Perez was 18th. I wonder if he has just gone a whole row ahead, and even his years of experience have been lost on him there, and he's gone into a slot that is not his, and just effectively jumped Esteban Ocon as well as Ollie Behrman.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. That probably is the case, as we see a race leader about to come up against a little bit of traffic, those cars that have come in and pitted already. So he's got Bortoleto, Behrman, and Alonso, another. I can't see on my track map right now, but they will all be very compliant, of course, but even compliant blue flag cars, you will lose a little bit of time.
Yeah, never like to see it. Then the others behind will have to pass them pretty quickly afterwards, because the field spread is whopping. 4 seconds difference in pace between Antonelli and those at the back, which is why they're being gobbled up quite this quickly. Antonelli looks like he's driving exactly like Antonelli to me. An experienced head might just think, save the tyres, you've got track position, don't do anything crazy. But Kimi's just knocked out a few fastest laps, built up a 5-second buffer, and so far Lewis on that lap just took 2/10 back out, but he's not had much of an answer.
Yeah, I'm going to imagine, and this is obviously making up my own head, that the team have probably said, okay, you've got a bit of a margin now, just start taking it a bit steady, because it's not as if it's like, you know, bringing the tyres in, and I don't think on the medium he would have seen them go off that quickly.
No, you sometimes risk a bit of graining if you push too hard too soon, and you're really going flat out before they're up into a working window. So maybe Hamilton, that was why he was pretty tepid on those early laps, just bringing them in gently, knowing that if Antonelli does start to grain up his tyres, he'll lose grip and they really won't clear up. And Lewis just needs to be close for that pit stop window. So he's allowed 5 seconds, which has come straight down to 4, presumably because Antonelli's he's at lap Bortoletto already.
And this is going to be Sergio Perez lining up, ready to take his grid spot. And congratulations, Jolyon. You get to come back for Spain.
Spot on. He can see things that we can't even see until we see them.
I don't think Checo had even clocked it. Suddenly looking at the back of a different car, but okay,
it was at that moment he realised.
12 of 78. Lewis Hamilton's been on the radio asking where he needs to find improvements relative to the man who took his seat in Mercedes, and he spent all season saying, look, I've not replaced Lewis Hamilton, but working with Pete Bonington, Hamilton's old engineer, has been a stirring run of success from Antonelli, including his breakthrough victory in Formula One. And he's followed it up. He's not been off the top step since he became a winner in the highest run of motorsport.
So he lost, what, about a second getting through that traffic. Hamilton, the downside, I guess, of being the first one to come across the traffic is that you sort of wake them up to where they are in their race. Hamilton looks like he's only lost about half a second getting through that same traffic.
More coming up as well for Antonelli. I mean, they're going to be, this will be pretty relentless now for them. On lap 12 out of 78, and they're already clearing back markers, so it's going to be a day of that. Clearing them. Charles Leclerc passed another one. And we've got another one for Charles Leclerc just ahead. There's that Valtteri Bottas he's going to pass. I'll tell you what, this is a miserable time to be a back marker as well. Imagine you're already spending each lap now. You've got the whole field sweeping past you. Just every time you're trying to push forward and you're having to slow down all the time. That's my harrowing Monaco tale.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, we had 7 of the starters have headed to the pits already. And we've got, well, Perez has been twice, of course, because of that drive-through. We're not expecting the others to be coming in for another 20-odd laps or so.
No, the top 15 on the grid, we've lost one of them. Max Verstappen is the sole retirement of the Monaco Grand Prix so far. Everyone else started on the medium tyres. Hülkenberg comes in now. German driver who has yet to finish in the points so far this season with a stop of 2.6 seconds. And he finds himself back onto the 2-mile circuit.
So this is going to be already now the domino effect of pit stops. There were that run of cars that pitted earlier on. There's one of them, Esteban Ocon, and that's who Nico Hülkenberg was covering off. But now everyone that was just ahead of Hülkenberg is going to be thinking about covering off the Audi driver as well. So that's going to be Sainz and Albon trying to protect what will be a point at the moment for Alex Albon. Long way to go. But they do not want to just lose some track position to Hülkenberg, who's been really quick so far this weekend, so they'll have to cover him off and hold straight out into the traffic as well, so that's not going to work out well for him.
Kimi Antonelli has an advantage of 4 seconds, 3.9 seconds. He's in his second Monaco Grand Prix start today. Lewis Hamilton made his debut at this race back in 2007. He was on the podium that year, second to Fernando Alonso, and that race began quite the battle between the two drivers, both Alonso, who was a champion at the time, and Hamilton, who added 7 titles, starting in 2008.
Yeah, you see Russell now starting to close that gap down to the back of Hadjar, who's got some lap traffic to work his way through. And you're always looking and hoping for that opportunity that someone gets slightly out of position, and then you're able to help that car you see getting well out of the way, so no issues there.
A little nudge of brake balance forwards as well to make sure he doesn't have the rear lock over the bump for the Nouvelle chicane. That's one of the many challenges around this circuit. So the driver's still trying to fine-tune their settings, even with all the demands of cornering around him.
Somehow in my mind, okay, maybe it's because we've lost Max, but even the Ferrari, somehow I thought they would have been applying a bit more pressure earlier. We don't have the advantage of as many long runs on a circuit like this to really get an indication of race pace, and with circuit evolution anyway, largely speaking, it only really matters on this day, at this moment. But Antonelli seems to have it well under control. Slightly
patiently, see. Stay patient. Long way to go.
Am I going too early with, oh my goodness, are we going to get less overtakes than we did last year?
I still believe. Lap 15, 3.5 seconds now, the gap.
There's a lot of take on these tyres, the grids are very hot. Copy.
Well, that's not the communication I thought we were going to hear there for Lewis, having had a fairly steady run, picking up the pace, saying the deg is there. So I wonder what Antonelli's finding out front then, because Hamilton's obviously feeling the car sliding around a little bit more, but he is starting to get back to the race lead.
It's interesting listening to George Russell after qualifying yesterday, saying that Antonelli's driving style really suiting this year's Mercedes, but crucially because what it allows him to do with the tyres. The tyre temperature that he's instantly able to generate. And at the moment, Hamilton is reporting degradation at a circuit where that is not normally in any way a factor. The last time Lewis Hamilton won this Grand Prix, 2019, he was on ancient tyres, and he still beat Sebastian Vettel and Max Verstappen to the win.
He was reporting degradation for about 50 laps, though.
Yeah, he wasn't happy about it, but he still won the race.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's helpful for the team, I guess, and the strategists to know what's going on as we go on board with Albon over the peak of braking, and he decides, no, I'm not going to attempt to make that chicane. I didn't see any lock-up, so I'm going to assume that was more to do with rear axle. As you see George Russell continuing to apply the pressure to Hadjar. So this is going to be interesting, actually, just to see how Hadjar, someone that we know is, you know, very emotionally invested in what he's doing. So whether this sort of pressure, he'll just say, well, look, I've got track position, so I've got control, or whether that will start nibbling away at his mind.
I think that's George's best chances to try and frighten Hadjar off the road, because he is not in my copybook of throwing a lunge in today.
Hadjar has front left grain and he won't be out for much longer, I don't think.
Just make sure you've got good tyres when he does get out of the way.
He has got amazing eyesight. He can see past the big rear wing, the big rear tyres, and at the hairpin, I suspect he's looking at the actual shape, and there you can see that graining. It's well spotted by George. And actually, isn't that just giving us a perfect example of inside the mind of a race driver?
No fronts. Perfect. Yeah, copied everything. Tyres over peak.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get a close-up of the front of the car at some point, where you'll see what that graining looks like and how George has amazingly been able to identify it as the car goes through the corner.
Yeah, it's helpful. Does our job for us. And this is probably the spot where he's seen that then, the low speed, and he gets a good shot of the front left as he's slowing down and just following the Red Bull. But as I was saying, George is not the driver today that can afford to throw a lunge. There is no easy move in Monaco. Even on someone, probably on the intermediate tyres that the McLaren started on in Montreal, would be a risky pass. So George, with championship considerations here, cannot afford to take any risk. So he just has to put the pressure on, get Isaac worked up, force him to check his mirrors all the time, force him to get offline and maybe make a mistake. Or, as Marcus Dudley was saying, there's your shot of that graining. That does look pretty disgusting on the front left.
Yeah, right. Of course, as we look at the screen, and the front tyres, by contrast, on the Mercedes looking super clean.
So two options for Russell. Do you push, pressurise, and try and make Hadjar make a mistake? A little bit of wheel spin as well for Isaac in a place long after the final bit of cornering at Anthony Nogue. So he is clearly not a happy man in that second, well, the only Red Bull. 18.3, 1.3 seconds down on Antonelli. So yeah, Russell, does he pressurise or does he wait and hope that Hadjar will pop into the pits and get some fresh tyres soon enough, and then he'll have tyres to go long and overcut him?
Big moment ahead for George Russell. Needs to try and clear Hadjar, minimise the damage in the World Championship. At the moment, it's going over 2 whole Grand Prix distances between first and second in the World Championship. Intrigued with the lap that we're going to get this time around in the battle for the lead, because there's not a lot of traffic at the moment. Lewis Hamilton had got the gap down to 2.8 seconds. It's just gone up again.
George, how much pace would you have in clear air?
At least 1 second, I think.
Decent estimation.
Probably 2, because Nico Hulkenberg's in the 16s. He is the fastest man on the circuit on a fresh set of hard tyres. So that's good information for Mercedes there.
Yeah, and that actually, unusually for this racetrack, might start seeing some slightly earlier stops, and then that gives you a much longer second phase. Or, of course, if anything happens later, another pit stop. But now, maybe the, you know, we're being educated as we go along, of course. Maybe the Ferrari strategy at the start, by just minding the business, has worked for them, because what looked like a gap that was just going to keep opening all the way to Nice has now, they're within that shouting distance, aren't they? With only 3.5 seconds behind the leader.
On board with Lando Norris, he's still studying the rear wing of Pierre Gasly. We talked about the clear air lap. No traffic for Antonelli, no traffic for Hamilton. The gap extends to nearly 4 seconds.
So Russell now has got a gap to come out behind these two.
Oh my God, the engine braking is a joke. What's happening?
We're investigating.
Yeah, something wrong, something wrong. First gear, man, is not usable.
It's just a quiet afternoon around the streets of Monaco for Hadjar so far. Graining and issues, and this is looking like best opportunity for George Russell. Will we see an unusual pass down into Sandoval? Will we see the Palmer favourite into Rascasse?
Well, he's got to weigh up the risk here with a car that's not running how it should. Can he pinch by? It's wide for Hadjar. And he's losing so much time here.
Well, if first gear is not usable for him, then there could well be an opportunity into the Nouvelle chicane, because all of that sequence before, you've got the really tight hairpins, and that's where you need first gear. Keep the turbos spooled up to keep revs up to find an exit. So that'll be George's opportunity. I'm sure Marcus Sudley will be on the radio to George Russell, this man heading through Massenet, telling him Isaac Hadjar is flustered and he may be nursing an issue that will give the Mercedes man needs to maximise his point score today, an opportunity to pass. But Hadjar's decent enough in that first sector.
Mode 6. Mode 6. We're looking into it, mate. We're looking into it.
Also, the power is down. The power.
He's already had 2 retirements this year. One wasn't his fault, one was. He crashed into the wall in Miami. He had a power unit failure at the opening Grand Prix of the year where he qualified P3 on the grid. So an ailing Red Bull up against Russell.
Yeah, they look faster.
I think I'll come to you as soon as I have a solution. I'll come to you.
Yeah, I guess the time perception of the driver is he's pretty busy out there, and if you're waiting for information, it can feel like an eternity, but they've got the engineers working on it here. There'll be people looking at the real-time data back in Milton Keynes, so there will be a lot of very bright brains trying to figure out what the driver can do.
So this is working out well for Russell. 4th place from a 6th place start in Monaco would be, I would think, the best he could have hoped for when he woke up this morning.
Something's gonna explode. The engine is not healthy right now.
Okay, we can see the issue. We're working on a fix. We can see it. We're working on a fix.
So Hadjar fearful of a 3rd retirement of the season. Mercedes will be radioing that information to George Russell. He's got to be aware there could be a failure for the car in front.
And right now, Hadjar cannot pit because Russell will just go long and overcut him. And Russell can pit at any given moment, put on some fresh tyres and just undercut him. So I don't see a way that Isaac, unless he can cure this issue and find some pace, can keep George behind.
Up into the Nouvelle chicane, and Russell is gaining all the while as we head to back corner. No way back.
Yeah, that's the signs of the difficulties he's having. So we heard already prior to the engine issue, talking about difficulties at the rear end.
It's another corner where you'd want to be plucking first gear as you're turning in, get that bit of engine braking. So maybe he's not getting that, and then he's keeping on the pedal a little longer, having that late lock-up and absorbing pressure down towards to back.
I wondered aloud what we would see between Antonelli and Hamilton after they cleared Fernando Alonso, because it's an empty piece of racetrack. No cars to lap for the 19-year-old race leader for a while now, and he has just built the gap. It's up to 5.9 seconds over Lewis Hamilton, and Charles Leclerc is 6 seconds back from his teammate. Ferrari on for a double podium, but at the moment, on the medium tyre, on lap 22 of 78, no answer to the race leader, who is extending as it stands his lead in the World Championship. If you're one of our newer viewers, we have never had a teenage champion in the entire history of Formula One.
Bring it on, I say. Statistics are there, records are there to be broken, and Antonelli could pit and still come out in front of Hadjar, so you'd still be in a podium position. And yeah, this is just, well, it looks like we're watching a Senna, a Schumacher, a Hamilton.
Yeah, Currently, there's no fix. We are still working on a solution. Currently, there's no fix. Head down.
All the crew working on one car now. Max Verstappen out. They'll all be looking to see if they can somehow get on top of whatever issue Isaac Hadjar has. Switch changes for George Russell. Trying to get a bit of rotation now, sitting this close for this long behind the Red Bull ahead that is slow and is passable in a pit window, but it's still frustrating to be sitting here. And George doesn't want to fall into traffic because you then never know what anyone else is going to do in terms of pace. He might get stuck behind Gasly and Norris, and Hadjar finds a fix and can clear it up again. Interesting little one for you. Hulkenberg's made his pit stop. If everyone pitted, he'd come out with Gasly right now. So no one's covered him off. He's caught the back of Lindblad. And the reason I think for that is Williams, 10th and 11th, at some point, if it stays like that, they will drop Sainz back and hold Hulkenberg back. Put a dam in the water, effectively.
Yeah, points are incredibly important to the team as they continue to recover from a difficult start to the year. But right now, Albon keeping himself very much in sight of Lawson. He's only a couple of seconds behind. So as they concentrate on their battle, well spotted in Hulkenberg, he's going to appear into the top 10 later in this Grand Prix.
Probably. Lindblad will do the same before he even gets towards a Williams pit window, because Racing Bull's incentivized to keep Liam Lawson as high as possible as well.
Nouvelle chicane. Charles Leclerc running third in this Grand Prix and going deep and over the white lines.
Yeah, didn't want to lock it up, didn't fancy risking running over the top of the curb and damaging the floor. You get away with that one or two times and gain a marginal amount of time before you're given the warning for well, just gaining an advantage, basically.
And then it gets a bit squeaky, doesn't it? Because you've got a long way to go, and that is a difficult braking zone. And it's your overtaking zone as well, so you want to have a bit of margin in there. But at the moment, this I would describe as tepid from Ferrari. 8.5 seconds, Hamilton drifting away once again from Antonelli. No sign of any pace. And Leclerc just drifting away from Hamilton. No threat from Hadjar. On for second and third. Thank you very much, but not at the moment up for first position. Antonelli driving very well.
The 2 miles of Monaco, notoriously difficult for overtaking. You need such speed to get past the car in front. We're talking seconds a lap. Other tracks we go to, we're dealing in tenths, but it's seconds a lap around here. And we're seeing it. Norris clearly quicker than Pierre Gasly. Gasly 7.4 seconds back from Oscar Piastri. And the Red Bull of Isaac Hadjar, who is superb around this circuit. He's proved that in the Junior Formula and last year with Racing Bulls, where he was excellent on his way to a 6th place finish on Formula 1 debut in Monaco. But he's got an ailing car in his second visit to the Principality in Formula 1, and there's nothing that Russell can get by to do to try and pressure the car in front. He's stuck right now. And what has been an upending of what the heavy championship favourite has had to come his way this year in Formula 1. And he finds himself just looking ahead at Red Bull. He would have been wanting to challenge for the win this weekend. He hasn't won since the opening Grand Prix of the year.
I think in the 14 years that I raced around here, as Russell, well, Hadjar has to go defensive again, and eventually Russell's going to have figured out as he's almost touching his rear wing on the rear of his car, defends it into to back. I was going to say, I don't think I overtook anyone other than off the start line in any of the races here. Julian, did you pull any mega moves?
Not in Formula 1.
Two?
I did. You know what I did? I did the Palmer Raskas move once upon a time.
I should have known.
I also did one into Saint-Devote for the lead of the race in my...
The lesser spotted pass into Saint-Devote.
I was passing Mitch Evans, who was on absolutely shod tyres, and I didn't pass was it look a gift horse in the mouth?
Yeah, we've definitely reached that point at lap 26 of 78. It's Guess the Phrase. It's Jolyon Palmer, David Coulthard. I'm Alex Jakes. Left-hand side of your screen is Charles Leclerc, who hasn't got... It is look a gift horse in the mouth. He's looking it up, everyone. We've got to that stage of the broadcast.
That's all right. I knew you'd confirm.
Poor old George Russell can't find his way by at the moment. He wants to try and close down the gap out front. Hadjar, you got a feel for him. Brilliant in qualifying around here once again. Red Bull having an unreliable day. If you're just joining us, Max Verstappen did not get off the start line. He's the retirement that we started with in the Monaco Grand Prix. Valtteri Bottas has joined him.
And this is the moment where DC will ask where the etymology of looking a gift horse in the mouth is.
I'll be asking what etymology means. I think I can kind of figure it out, but it's the first time that word has entered my ears. I thank you, it's a beautiful word.
10 seconds for the race lead. Well, Hamilton got that gap down. Look, that's not a surprise. You've got a driver in his second year of Formula One. He's the championship leader. He's on for his first ever win in Monaco. And he's been cautious with the traffic. Hamilton got that gap down to 2.8 when they were cycling through cars. Well, that's not happened for a while now. Antonelli's just got past Esteban Ocon, who goes a lap down. And since then, Antonelli's just extended the gap. He's now 10 seconds out front.
Yeah, this is, well, it's incredible. It is super impressive. What he was able to do yesterday, what he is doing right now, with no pressure to really keep opening up that gap right now, but he's on target to be able to almost have a pit stop in hand.
Just the confidence he has, not thinking about saving the tyres. He's just driving around at a high pace all the time, lapping within a second of his fastest lap of the race so far, and every lap, I mean, second on Hamilton on the last lap, as Hadjar might end up in trouble here. Crosses the runoff area, but has managed to get on the gas quick enough to deter Russell from throwing in what would be a bit of a mad move into the back.
Yeah, Russell, of course, will be on the radio crying foul for that one. So, as I said earlier, you'll get away with it once, you'll get a warning if you do it twice, and you get a penalty if you do it a third time. So, it's one of those things, isn't it, Julian? You've got the choice.
That's a last-in advantage. So he can't keep it on the traffic. He needs to get the position up. Kopi. He's just out braking himself. So he's got no tyres.
George Russell appeals to the race director to have a look. Lando Norris, left-hand side of your picture, trying to close down Pierre Gasly. Gasly on the 7th position. Franco Colapinto's been P7, been P6 in recent races. Gasly giving himself the foundation for this result with a good qualifying yesterday when he was best of the rest.
Hamilton got on the radio a while ago and said tyres are gone, rears are overheating. He was 3 seconds back. He's now 12 seconds back. Leclerc is matching, or was matching, Antonelli's pace. Okay, yeah, Hamilton pits this lap, and Leclerc's close here to maybe think about doing something different.
In comes Lewis Hamilton, a 3-time winner of the Monaco Grand Prix. Ferrari team go to work, and it's an efficient stop.
Flat-out time for Charles Leclerc. Lewis Hamilton will have to do the same. They will, I'm sure, play the team game, whatever the team game is, but first of all, they're going to be thinking about being the Ferrari driver that's going to be second place and hopefully picking up anything should Kimi Antonelli offer it to them. So Hamilton exits the pits on the hard tyres, sticks to the right-hand side of the white line on pit exit, has a beautiful clear road ahead, but now we're into a little bit of a qualifying time. We'll see what Leclerc's got in his locker.
Yeah, this is going to be telling, actually, because Hamilton, having put on this set of tyres, not impossible, of course, absolutely possible to make it to the end of the Grand Prix. As you can see, what Russell was claiming was a lasting advantage. But Leclerc at the chicane, completely clear track ahead until Ocon, who's exiting the swimming pool. Hamilton is completely, he's just left Portier, and Leclerc is next car up. So they've got clean racetrack to deliver the lap time that their tyres will give them. I'm going to assume Hamilton can be quicker on those fresher tyres, and he has to be.
Yeah, it should be. The hard tyres will last to the end of the race as well. That should be okay for him, so it might be a nice reprieve for him after sliding around for so many laps, but it's an opportunity for Charles to show what he's got as well. He was super quick. You know, I looked at the data from yesterday. He was up on pole when he put it in the wall at to back by a smidgen, but he was right there with Kimi Antonelli. But he was taking risks, wasn't he? And that's what comes when you take the risks.
Yeah, that'll be frustrating because Antonelli was on pole over Verstappen by, I'll use your word, a smidgen.
0.04 of a second, it was settled for Grand Prix pole between Antonelli and Verstappen. Verstappen did not get off the line. He's retired from this race along with Valtteri Bottas. Gabriel Borgletto and Audi had a whole host of problems before the Grand Prix. He is still running in 19th. Liam Lawson, more pertinently for the points, he was struggling in the garage, but they got him to the grid and they were making late changes, but he's running in 9th. It would be a good result for him if he's able to finish there. The driver that's in the top 10 of the World Championship, he's got 4-point scoring finishes going into today.
So Russell's life might be about to get a little harder. Piastri's closing in, 2 seconds back now on Russell, who is still nose to tail with Isaac Hadjar and boxed in. And he doesn't want to have to think about potentially losing a place or having to cover off a McLaren, who would love to pick up some more pieces as well. So with that was sort of 5-6 seconds to Piastri behind, that's going to just get Mercedes a little twitchier. They had a golden chance to take 4th place, whichever way it landed, but they've still got it. But McLaren are also going to start to up the pressure.
Lewis Hamilton is 33 seconds back on Kimi Antonelli, for your information. At the moment, it's around 20 seconds pit loss time.
6 slower than Charles Leclerc on the last lap. So there you go. That is, if Leclerc pits now, he will come out behind, but it is close. And the more laps that Charles can do quicker than Lewis at this stage, that is going to get very, very close between the two Ferraris. Hamilton has to pick up his pace, and he's just done his personal best first sector.
Here's Nico Hülkenberg missing the chicane. He was overtaken on the last lap last year by Lance Stroll. He was able to put a move on him outside the points, and a nibble of the barrier for the man running in 10th.
Yeah, that's a little wake-up, isn't it? You know, that's fine when you're exploiting that quality. And that barrier there at the end of swimming pool we know is flexible, but you don't want to be risking that now, especially when running in the points.
I gave it a kick when I was filming on track on Thursday to see how flexible is it. Not as flexible as my foot.
No, absolutely. I could have told you that. It's a metal Armco barrier. It's just up against a very heavy car.
A lot of misfiring this lap. Oh, just noise.
Okay, we're checking.
So cool, you'd think he was sitting in the pit lane, not rattling around a Grand Prix track.
Lando Norris continuing on, less than a second away. This is the barrier we were talking about, left-hand side of your picture. In comes George Russell, no longer tucked underneath Hadjar and the Red Bull that's got the issue. They need a clean stop, and that is what his race required. 2.4 seconds and hard tyres on the car.
He's going to fall behind Norris. So he's got that gap that he had earlier on. Finally, Mercedes pulled the trigger and use it, but he's behind Lando Norris, which will give McLaren a strategic option at some point to play games and back into Russell to get Piastri ahead of him. Hadjar now, will he try and cover off? Presumably. Has he got anything left? It's a one-shot wonder here for George. Use everything on the outlet and go for the undercut.
Yeah, he's got a healthy gap until he gets up to the back of where Norris is. So the Mercedes strategists have accepted that, knowing that and hoping that by the time he gets anywhere close to Norris, that Norris will have pitted by that point.
And of course, Norris is going to be fully focused on passing Gasly as well.
Franco Colapinto, exit of turn 1.
Did you give that one a kick?
No. You didn't kick that barrier as well, did you?
This is the one that they always trouble on the exit of the swimming pool section. And Franco Colapinto finds himself getting away with that one, brush the wall, going past our commentary box. Isaac Hadjar stopping, trying to respond to George Russell. And Russell will hope that the outlap takes him past the young French driver in his second season in Formula One and first season with the Red Bull senior team. Down to one car in this Grand Prix. Hadjar heads out onto the circuit and George Russell heads by. So the strategy works for the driver second in the points, and he clears Isaac Hadjar.
So that was always going to happen. Hadjar had no pace. Russell had fresh tyres and a Mercedes, and through he goes. But McLaren have a choice here. Speeding in the pit lane for Hamilton. So meanwhile, Hamilton's put 3 decent laps together, and he's comfortably seeing off Charles Leclerc in that qualifying battle.
It's a 5-second time penalty for Lewis Hamilton. It's for speeding in the pit lane, and it changes the battle for second.
Yes, we do.
Confirmation that Lewis Hamilton has a 5-second penalty, and he's made his scheduled stop. He's got time to build. It's not going to affect things, but it gives the opportunity for Charles Leclerc.
Well, Leclerc now in a golden position to be second in this race. Hamilton will take 5 seconds at the end of the Grand Prix. We wouldn't expect him to pit again unless there was a safety car, and he has a free pit stop in hand still because the gap to Hadjar initially was so big.
It's got no power now. No power. No battery. Got nothing.
The default again, please. White default 7-0 again.
Right, so if I'm McLaren, Lando, you're doing a good job, you're struggling around, you've lost the place at the start to Gasly, drop back into Russell, slow up Russell and Hadjar, and Piastri will just reap the rewards and take that 4th place. So long as George Russell cannot clear Lando Norris driving 2 seconds a lap slower, they've given Oscar a chance to just overcut now into 4th place. It was the risk that Mercedes took by pitting Russell to jump Hadjar.
Yeah, it hasn't been plain sailing for Mercedes in the McLaren, and of course in the back of George Russell's car in Canada as well. So what are we seeing here from Lando Norris? Yeah, doesn't even attempt to take the chicane.
He's busy troubleshooting on the wheel, isn't he, all the way through. Looked pretty quick through that.
Exactly. So how long will this last?
McLaren were chasing performance from the first session of practice around the Principality earlier this weekend. They've just not been at the races like we've been used to in previous years. They won the race with Lando Norris 1 year ago.
The problem is still here.
Yeah, we're still looking for another fix. We are looking for another fix.
So Piastri also will jump Hadjar as it stands, with Hadjar struggling, and he's very slow on the last lap. So they have a decision here. Norris has a chance to try and do something about Gasly as Leclerc gets the call to pit in.
Ferrari assembling in the pit lane. Charles Leclerc, who has the chance to make the stop. He comes in, needs a clean stop. Cheered around the Principality when he set provisional pole yesterday on run number 1 in qualifying. Run number 2 saw him hit the wall. And Charles Leclerc is back into the Grand Prix with a stop of 3.3 seconds. Driver 3rd in the points battle going in to today. He's trying to score a 3rd podium in his home race. He's won it in 2024. He was 2nd in 2025.
And his job remains pretty simple. Stay within 5 seconds of Lewis now for the rest of the race, and he will get 2nd place. He has 5 seconds to make up to get there.
I think it was about 19 seconds behind Antonelli who made his stop. So let's see, Antonelli seemingly not showing any signs of degradation in those tyres. 16.1 last time around. He has the high likelihood of opening up such a gap that he can pit and come out still leading.
He's got the race lead, he got pole position, and he'll be hoping to lead the entirety of this one. And what a place to dominate the field. An exhibition at the front as we move to lap 37 of 78, and a gaggle of cars further back now sees Franco Colapinto pit from 12th position. Currently occupying the final points paying place is Alex Albon, but Hadjar has that problem hanging over him, and they can't find a quick fix. It's been plenty of minutes now since he first reported it.
Russell is now reported for speeding in the pit lane, under investigation. What's going on?
Very unusual.
It's unlikely to be as they enter the pit lane, because you come out of Raskas and you haven't really built that much speed, 60 kilometers an hour.
Maybe it is. Maybe
wow.
I mean, you're not going to just press the button on the exit sooner than the line, are you? That seems like the more elementary mistake.
You're desperately trying to wiggle your way out onto that racetrack. They've got the tarmac that runs down because it's different levels between pit lane.
So the only other option, which is a likely... here comes Antonelli. Let's have a look at the race leader.
Kimi Antonelli with a massive hurdle to clear. There aren't many in his way. That was one of the ways that there could have been an issue. Mercedes still haunted by that stuck wheel nut stop for Valtteri Bottas in 2021. But through he goes, 2.3 seconds, and that is exemplary from the World Championship leader and his team. They're top of the pile in both categories at the moment. He's back onto the racetrack, still with the race lead. Antonelli having a day and then some.
I think he still opened out the gap while he was on the old tyres. We'll get confirmation once he's completed the lap, but I'm fascinated to know what the conversations are between the team and Antonelli. Are they just letting him get on with it? Are they saying, Kimi, buddy, just enjoy the view because you've got such a lead? That could get wiped out, of course, if there was a full safety car. So there are many twists and turns towards a checkered flag in Monaco, but this first stint of the Grand Prix has just been, well, stunning.
Here's another development, a 5-second time penalty for George Russell. He got away with the potential one at the start. He does not get away with speeding in the pit lane. 5 seconds will be added to his race time. He is not scheduled to make another trip to the pit lane today.
So that will be a battle with Oscar Piastri later on in the race if it doesn't come around in the pit stop window. You can see now Russell getting close to the back of Norris, and McLaren still have that up their sleeve if they want to get Lando to drop back. But of course Lando is going to be fully focused here. Whatever car issues he was talking about haven't got worse, and he's getting a second win at giving us that pass. Here we go, here we go. Hop on board, a little bit closer.
Listen to you all hopeful, having said it earlier in the race. There's the burst into the sunlight, and Lando Norris, well, they've found a solution, haven't they, at McLaren? That's what Isaac Hadjar was hoping for at Red Bull, but Norris can't fight even a defensive shape thrown from Gasly at the moment.
No, my hope of that pass is dwindling a little, but they will still be hoping. Oh, Gasly takes a lot of curb, so does Norris. Here's the Raskas special.
Yeah, but it's being blocked off nicely by Gasly. He's got the experience, he knows what the potential is, but you see Norris has been running in that dirty air for quite some time and taking more out of his tyres.
The noise Jolien's going to make if we get an overtake. Oh, you have to turn down your televisions. Hulkenberg finds himself at the left-hand side of your picture, and after all the joy of the fresh rubber earlier on, he caught the back of Arvid Lindblad, and that is where he has stayed. It's a very tight battle, Hulkenberg, Lindblad, and Sainz at the moment. Sainz, who is dropping back, and Williams looking to secure that point. Lando Norris taking any route he can over the pavements at the hotel hairpin to try and find a way past Pierre Gasly.
Yeah, he took the sort of Antonelli qualifying lap line through the corner, so when he came into the camera shot there, front wheel in the air, and well, George Russell has caught them with those fresh tyres.
This is Piastri's chance to build the gap as well. They're both falling away. Piastri needs 19 seconds, a little over, to pit and come out ahead of Russell. And even if he comes behind, within 5 seconds at the end, we're given the place. But maybe McLaren can have both here. Gasly again, he is having to cover the Raskas line. I will claim that.
It's the first time we're seeing Gasly start to move around. The Audi gets out of the way. Through goes the Alpine, through goes the McLaren, through goes the Mercedes. Alpine. So many teams talked up their chances of the new regulations giving them a leap forward. Alpine, 10th, back of the field last year, absolutely nowhere. Took the decision to switch to Mercedes power. It's paid off as well, and Gasly is getting close to tying his points total from the entirety of last year in round 6 of 2026.
Dropping back by 1 second per lap to Piastri ahead, so this will be a risk now for Mercedes and George, who will have every incentive to try and make an overtake, but I don't know if he's going to be the man to try the lunge.
Leclerc hasn't nibbled away at that 5 seconds. As I say that, he's just pulled it under 10 seconds, the gap to Hamilton. Plenty of time in this Grand Prix for him to try and work that time back, and as you said, he just needs to be within 5 seconds of Hamilton to secure that second place.
Traffic's such a big factor though. There's Hamilton, and then he's got now the pack of Sainz, Lindblad and Hulkenberg between himself and his teammate, and they are all on a go-slow mission right now because Sainz is just dropping Hulkenberg, who's already pitted, away from Albon's pit window. So sacrificing one car for the point of the other at the moment, Williams.
George Russell makes his way around the Cadillac. Cadillac's first Monaco Grand Prix today. Still Hulkenberg runs within half a second of Arvid Lindblad, 18-year-old, our sole rookie in the field. You can see how much George Russell soaring away at that steering wheel, trying to make anything happen, as Norris has tucked back in to 1 second away. This is where they will be trying to use all of the boost that they've got, all the electrical energy, alongside the internal combustion engine, and Russell giving it everything. Colapinto's now been noted for speeding in the pit lane. What a strange day we're having when it comes to that idiosyncrasy.
So, I'm going to go with Julian's foresight on this, that it can only be that entry phase then, which for me normally, you know, you come out of Rascasse on the inside, it's such a sort of tight, you know, you're underspeeding up to the pit lane speed and you're running straight into it. So you would have activated the speed limiter before you get up to the 60.
So you've got three options. One, you've been a bit of a wally and you've unlatched the speed limiter before on the exit. Difficult to imagine, as Norris has to check the mirrors here.
Heading to Saint-Devote, don't see many passes into there, and usually it results in contact if you do get moves through there. Russell trying to deploy all of the power that he's got, no way by.
Lando, we want to do the holding strategy on Russell. We want to build up the seconds over the next couple of laps, please.
Correct call from McLaren. Mercedes opened the door for this by pitting Russell behind the second McLaren, and now McLaren want to back Russell up with Norris to give Piastri a chance of fourth place and possibly, you never know, a podium if there was a safety car or something else, with Hamilton having a penalty and anything else to happen. So it's the right call. So speeding the pit lane, either you've been a wally and you've done it on the exit. You can't have three wallies in the field. So then you have to look at the pit entry. Coming through Rascasse, you're right, it's a very low speed. They have got better acceleration this year. Yep, nothing that they can do about it right now on the pit wall.
Franco Colapinto did get a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Hamilton, Russell and Colapinto now getting penalised for being too quick in the pit lane.
The third thing is a sensor. So it's all done on obviously speed averages down the pit lane, 60 kph, so it's a tight pit lane, low speed, and everyone will be setting it to about 59.2, 59.3 to give yourself a tiny bit of margin. But I can't imagine now 3 different teams are getting that wrong. So in my head, this is drivers with a little bit more acceleration than they've ever had in their lives with these cars, maybe giving it a burst of throttle out of Rascasse, turning it right and heading in.
It's possible, of course, but yeah, it does seem strange that we would have 3. We don't normally get any, and usually it's because of barreling down to the breaking point of where the pit lane speed limiter is. We'll see that in Barcelona next weekend, but it's not normally a case. Well, it's definitely not the case here. Could you accelerate up to the pit limiter in Monaco?
And these are 2 with the most experienced drivers in the field. Well, Lewis Hamilton, one of them, and George Russell as well. So very, very costly. And Franco Colapinto joins them in it. So certainly if you're McLaren, you're radioing your drivers and you're saying, by the way, just so you know, people are getting done for speeding in the pit lane, so just be extra cautious. That's your peel in on the right-hand side. So if you are with a little bit more grunt this year, the electric motor working well and picking up speed, more torque, more speed, and then you whip it into the right-hand side. Oh, George.
George Russell has now been noted for crossing the line at pit exit. You have to stay the correct side of the white line. If you cross it, you usually get a 5-second penalty, and that really is a tough message to read if you're a George Russell fan or you're on his side of the Mercedes garage. It is the complete upending of what we expected at the start of the season, and he's been chasing performance. He said afterwards, as Albon pits from 10th position, the left-hand side of your picture, and takes on what looks to be the soft tyres on that Williams, and George Russell finally gets a major problem because Lando Norris is retiring from the Grand Prix by the looks of things. It was an issue earlier on and he's struggling for speed.
Now, it looks like whatever it was, well, I was going to say it reset itself. Could I expect to see him pull over to the left-hand side? But no, he is bringing that car to pit lane. We can see the McLaren mechanics coming out in the pit lane, ready to receive him.
Lando, we're going to box this lap and retire the car. We're going to box the lap and retire the car.
Lando Norris's difficult season when it comes to reliability. It's cost him so much time on track. He had an issue earlier in the weekend. He didn't start in China. He retired in Canada and he retires in Monaco. Crucially, for the context of the entire Grand Prix, he was able to get it back to the pits and park up. Wasn't left stranded, which could have potentially caused a virtual safety car or full safety car. And the winner last year is out of the Grand Prix, and he joins Oliver Behrman, Valtteri Bottas and Max Verstappen as a retirement.
I was trying to figure out where George would have crossed the white line. There is a bit of a step down from pit lane to the racing circuit, which if you've got a big kick of power, maybe could have tickled it there, but otherwise it can only be when he's come round the final, you know, the inside of turn one.
Yeah, I think it'll be turn one, where you're on hard tyres, they don't warm up particularly well, and it's pretty easy to cross that white line if you're pushing as hard as he was, obviously. So we get another pit stop then. This is Gasly.
Tell you what, Albon, I don't think will like that instruction because he's in new tyres, and I understand what they're doing. They're going to leave Sainz to go long in the hope that there's a safety car and play the team game.
Yeah, it's ultimate team game here for Williams. They'll just swap that and manipulate it to be 10th and 11th, which will be 9th and 10th with Norris out of the race.
And that's where they finished last year, and Williams looking for more points.
Is there a reason for this? Because if I'm P10, what are you trying to do? I mean, I'm happy to do it, but I just... Are we just risking something for nothing, or...?
So Albon querying it. We didn't get the team reply, but he has listened, and Sainz is up to 9th, and now Albon will restrict the pace on the soft tyres.
Yeah, that's going to push Lindblad and those guys back. Lindblad will probably think about heading to pits unless they're all rolling the dice on, well, go as long as we can and see if a safety car comes to us.
Safety car or a red flag or something for these guys. So much frustration for Hulkenberg, who's had pace that early pit stop. The promise it looked good as he gets right up behind Lindblad up the hill, but you cannot make a pass at Massenet. And I can see from Albon's point of view, actually, you've qualified 11th, you're then de facto 10th place because Verstappen's out at the start. You're heading for what will be a second points finish of the year, and you're doing well. You're ahead of your teammate. And regardless of any backing up, they could have done that. This is Norris retiring.
That was the moment that he let go for Lando Norris. George Russell got through, then Isaac Hadjar got through, and he was called back to retire.
I got nothing. My battery.
Battery-related issue for him on Friday. It was a battery issue for George Russell in Canada Sunday. Another one there. It's not looking great, is it, for Mercedes power units? They're getting away with it. I have to say Norris, or the main team, are getting away with it. Norris has been so unlucky this year.
He's lost a huge amount of track time, hampering his title defence. He was in the battle to win the Miami Grand Prix up against Kimi Antonelli a couple of races ago. Wasn't able to find his way through. And didn't even start the Grand Prix in China, retired in Canada and retires today.
So this little group now, as Albon backs them in, this is giving maybe one of them an opportunity to pull a Palmer into Raskas.
We will see if anyone can be late on the brakes and if there's enough of a gap.
So close to the back of Lindblad into Massenet. He gets so close, it must be frustrating because you're never going to go around the outside of someone there. As soon as you get offline, you're heading to the wall. But again, he's thinks about it, guys, doesn't do it yet. But you're everyone in this pack thinking, okay, Williams right now 9th and 10th, but if Hulkenberg can get to 11th.
Yeah, we're being too smart with it, guys.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, I don't get it.
Alex Albon hasn't been happy with a lot of Williams calls across the last couple of years, you've got to say, even when it was going incredibly well. But Piastri's now called in to make his stop, and Russell will find himself elevated. And right, here we go then, big moment. Let's see where that works out. Can anyone find an overtake? It's Antonelli, Hamilton, Leclerc, Piastri and George Russell. Hadjar still operating, even though there's a problem, and that's very slow. And through goes the car, and what on earth has gone on there? And that is absolutely outrageous. The team tactics cost Alex Albon a position.
We didn't act with game, we just sort of came to that quite late. Did he make a mistake through Anthony Nogues, and that's where he's got out of position, or was there a sort of momentary hiccup with deployment?
That was bizarre. So he's on a new soft tyre. He should not be passed by anyone on an old medium there, let alone a rookie Arvid Lindblad into coming out of that corner. Slow again now, Albon. So this is a sensible enough tactic for Williams. Sainz backs up, Albon gets the free stop, then Albon backs up, Sainz gets the same.
He goes over the chicane. There's the harbourside chicane, and then is there a call to let him go by?
No, there can't be from there. I wonder if Albon's just got a problem, you know. He's just backing up even more.
Yeah, he backed off to make sure that he hadn't gained a lasting advantage. So the gap between them by the time they got into back was the same.
It's been noted for leaving the track and gaining advantage. It is worth saying, Mercedes power in the back of that Williams.
Unless he has let him by out of extreme caution. Lindblad needs to pit. So it hasn't changed Albon's life at this stage, but he's clearly not enjoying trying to play out this tactic.
If we were to stop again under safety car, we have plenty of margin. You just have to be really careful on the entry and exit. What you did last time was perfectly fine.
Yeah, but I don't think we need to stop.
No, it's only safety car. You can get a free stop, that's all.
I mean, he could if he wanted to, but it would be high pressure and needless. So he's got the fastest lap, no point for it anymore in Formula One, but he's got pole position, he's led all the way. What a time to be Kimi Antonelli. He was rushed through the junior formula, but I don't think that anyone out there, including him, expected him to win 5 Grand Prix in a row. That's what he's on to do at the moment. Lap 51 of 78, still Carlos Sainz has yet to pit from 9th position. Lindblad is 11 seconds back.
Any run through the pits is a load of jeopardy and things out of your control. As a racing driver, absolutely. If the car's going well, stay out on circuit and just tick through the laps. So here we go then. I think you're right. I think Albon must have let Lindblad through out of just extreme caution from the team that he was going to get a penalty for being ahead and staying ahead.
But it's all about lasting advantage. You know, no question he's missed the chicane, but he's slowed down, and as long as the relative positions, and it wasn't like it was defending an overtake, there was no overtake, so it's not I'm about to be overtaken, so I'm just going to miss the chicane.
Hey guys, what do you reckon is going on with Pierre Gasly? He's been investigated for speeding in the pit lane. What a strange day. I've never seen it that many times with that many drivers. So you're starting to query whether it's correct at this stage. These are the best drivers in the world.
Well, the good thing is, if they all take the 5-second penalty at the end of the race, if it is a technical issue with, you know, the actual pit lane limiter, it could well be the case, then that can be rectified and annulled afterwards.
When did you used to hit the pit lane speed limiter? When you peeled into the right?
I used to hit it as I peeled into the right.
Because
I accelerated.
So quickly,
I accelerated into the pit limiter.
If that acceleration is a bit higher this year, and you just pick up the throttle, you turn into the right, and you still press the pit lane speed limiter at the same time, you might burst over it because the cars have just got better acceleration.
Yeah, but they've been practicing that all the way through pre-practice. You get in a rhythm. You know, you're not breaking down to the pit limiter in the same way you are at other circuits. So I get what you're referencing. If you're trying to be greedy and steal a couple of kilometers an hour in such a short section on the racetrack, but I would personally hit the limiter and drive into it.
I'm just trying to get my head around what else this could be, because most of the field haven't got penalties. 4 drivers have. There's no correlation between, you've got both Alpines now. You've got Mercedes power unit of Russell, then you've got a Ferrari of Hamilton, you've got inexperience, you've got experience.
Can I tell you something bizarre that's coming our way in a few moments' time? You've got George Russell nearly a lap down on Kimi Antonelli.
Yep, that's the one that it's always sobering for a teammate when you're having a bad afternoon.
Well, a strange one with the pit limiter. I thought you were going to say, if everyone gets a penalty, it's not going to be a problem, is it?
Yeah, that's true as well.
but a very, very strange one to see this many drivers pinged for speeding in the pit lane. You've got the graphic on the left-hand side, the red exclamation mark for drivers who have a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Hamilton, Russell, Gasly, and his teammate Franco Colapinto.
Piastri's an awfully long way behind Hadjar. How did he end up so far behind after taking a pit stop?
He's 12.9 seconds back, and the gap massively extended.
Did we see his pit stop? He must have had a slow stop or something.
No, we didn't see it. We saw his teammate coming in, being pushed into the garage. So, answers on the postcard for that one.
He's a pit stop behind George Russell now. So something has gone badly wrong for Oscar.
Stroll's under investigation for track limits. It's getting weirder and weirder, this Grand Prix. 54 of 78. Kimi Antonelli putting on an exhibition. Confirmation that Stroll is under investigation for that. He's currently running in 16th position. He is 5.6 seconds behind Fernando Alonso. Meant to update you on this a while ago, but we're cycling through the strangeness of the pit lane speed limiter. Charles Leclerc is now within the 5 seconds that he needs for second place, as Carlos Sainz comes in to improve his teammate's day somewhat and make the stop, and Alex Albon can finally get on with it.
Well, Sainz will come out ahead of Albon, and then he'll give the place back up. And then Williams, then with the full manipulation, can get up to speed and drive away from Nico Hulkenberg.
Yeah, as long as he plays the team game, he'll improve his teammate's day.
Yeah, look, just to sort of spice things up, I would cue the sort of sinister music. Oh, and yes, he does. Well, how did that...
Got to be careful, because if Hulkenberg jumps Sainz, that's the
blend
position.
in. That is not the easiest moment, and the Williams are line astern, and Alex Albon really had to play the spoiler there to keep the Audi behind, but they did keep the Audi behind.
Well, you would say they judged that to perfection, because it was all there as Sainz came back onto the racetrack.
Might have given it a little bit more margin if I was Williams.
Yeah.
Do one more lap of go slow, and then we'll sort it out.
Oscar Piastri, you know the guy, car 81. He's under investigation for speeding in the pit lane.
Right. I'm going to go with there's an issue somewhere with the timing sensors or the distance sensors that give us the speed across the pit lane. They can't all be making the same mistake.
Yeah. I mean, this is, I'm running out of explanations for this. Here we go. This is Russell crossing the white line. Is it there? Or is he going to go
cross him? He definitely got on it.
Ooh, my words.
Did he actually go across the other side? I guess he must have, if that's where the penalty is.
It's when they start looking at the bulge of the tyre or the contact patch of the tyre, don't they? Because it's very, very close where the edge of the front left went over, as we get the latest 5-second penalty confirmation for Piastri.
Maybe just hasn't been enough penalties this year for the steward's satisfaction, so they're really getting into the detail of it.
Maybe they're trying to keep us on topic after the etymology earlier on.
Do you think the stewards right now are just thinking, guys, this feels weird? Why is everyone getting a penalty? What's going on here?
It's like when we first had proximity sensors on the start to actually judge if a driver had made a jump start.
There's something weird with the engine up the hill.
Having a look.
Okay. Well, that's news to us as well as our viewers and listeners. But yeah, I was just going to say, just to finish on that, when they first brought in the sensors on the start-finish for the grid, we had quite a few jump starts because they figured out it was way too sensitive, you know, and then they detuned it to basically mean that we weren't actually crossing the lines. But of course, that didn't help those that got the penalties in the early Grand Prix.
Right, Kimi Antonelli has one hand on the Monaco Grand Prix trophy, but does he have a reliable car underneath him? So far this year in Grand Prix, it's only been as low as second place. He's been told not to worry about it. You can understand that he is hearing every rattle and every vibration after a performance this dominant around the famous streets. And no further investigation for Russell for crossing the line at pit exit, so he remains on just the speeding in the pit lane penalty, and it's worth saying that our researchers have found out earlier this weekend 5 penalties and the fines that you get if you do it outside of the race for speeding in the pit lane.
Again, Kimi, fastest lap. We don't need them.
I've heard that before. Very reminiscent of what Max Verstappen used to do in the lead of a Grand Prix.
Vettel was prone to that as well. He quite liked the he liked the stats, didn't he? He liked the pole position, fastest lap, lead all of the laps, and win the Grand Prix.
The race engineer Pete Bonington, so much success with Lewis Hamilton, and now winning with Kimi Antonelli. Hadjar continuing to run. Albon, no further investigation for locking up and going over the Nouvelle chicane.
Quite surprised Williams are making their lives as uncomfortable as this still, with Hulkenberg right nipping at the heels of Albon.
Well, it's going to be tricky at the moment. That's the battle we're going back to right now. There is a way to... There's just not enough margin to the Audi.
Fresh soft tyres, you'd think they'd just drive away now from the Audi. I know Audi have been quick this weekend. Hulkenberg started kind of out of position in 13th, but he's on hard tyres that he's been on since lap 12. So fresh softs should give Sainz and Albon enough of a gap to break clear from Hulkenberg. Then they'll swap positions surely to keep things fair. Lindblad will pit, and they'll be 9th and 10th again. But Hulkenberg's, if he can get any sort of look at pressurising Albon and making life uncomfortable for him, then there's still a chance of a first point of the season for Nico Hulkenberg.
Yeah, signs of those fresher tyres. He'll be quite... And there you go, they've done the swap.
The Williams swap back over, and the team game works brilliantly for them. Arvid Lindblad still needs to stop, and they're on to repeat what they did last year in the same order that they did it last year. 9th and 10th looming large for Williams. Alex Albon back ahead of Carlos Sainz, and Hulkenberg's great run on the hard tyre, man-marked by the Williams strategy. And Albon didn't enjoy that, but he is, when Lindblad pits, going to be on for a result that he will desperately want. It's not been easy. Carlos Sainz has had 3 9th places so far this year. Alex Albon had 10th position, and that's it. That's it for the driver. He's had a sprint race point score in Austin, but it's been a long time, and
sparking
the question is Charles Leclerc leaving a margin? And the answer is no.
Well, that's what happens late in the race. You become slightly sort of mesmerised by the amount of laps around here, and that's... You don't ever really look at that left side of the barrier, do you, Julian? But you sense it's there, but there's no need actually on the axle to be that close, and that is like, wow, okay, I'm not doing that again.
You're straightening off the exit, so we're right on board with Charles coming through again. You get close to that one to open it up, and then the closer you can get, the quicker you can get on gas, and so you kind of do brush pretty close to it. I have been amazed that that's not happened earlier on in the weekend, because lap on lap they are, oh, we don't have the graphic, but I would say super close to the wall, about 1 centimetre away. But finally, Charles Leclerc has woken up with a proper hit there. I mean, I don't think that was much softer a hit than Gabriel Bortoletto destroyed his Audi on the entry part of that yesterday in qualifying. So Leclerc, remember, he's got to stay pushing because he's got to stay within 5 seconds of Lewis Hamilton to inherit 2nd place. And you never know, 18 laps for anything to go wrong for a race leader if you're the Ferraris.
Yellow flags out in the circuits. Lance Stroll into the wall. Lap 60 of 78. Lance Stroll hits the barriers. He's in the Tech Pro at Anthony No's corner, and will this reset the race? The safety car is deployed, and the Monaco Grand Prix is going to have a second act.
Yep, and looking at that, the only one not to have pitted so far is Lindblad.
So you lose 12 seconds instead of the 20, and Stroll yet to trouble the points this year. Both Aston Martins have struggled for that. They're waiting for a big update. And an enormous lead for Kimi Antonelli will be wiped away.
Pit lane's getting busy as all the teams get ready.
Mercedes are out, McLaren are out for Oscar Piastri. And Mercedes head back in. Ferrari are out and they're waiting.
I think Lindblad went past. But am I getting misinformation on our screen here? It's not showing that Lindblad's actually made a stop.
Not yet. We'll keep it updated. Piastri is in. Lewis Hamilton is going to get new tyres from Ferrari.
This is going to work beautifully for Hamilton because he takes his penalty and Leclerc will sit behind him. So Hamilton will effectively take that penalty for no cost.
Charles Leclerc is in as well. He will get new tyres. Softs going on to the Ferrari. And he is back into the queue.
But why the hell are we pitching?
I was just going to ask that. Yeah, they've committed Charles to effectively taking a 5-second penalty as well, as he waited for Hamilton to take his 5 seconds.
Yeah. So Antonelli stays out on a hard tyre. Ferrari's just put on softs. Kimi is coming through to back corner right now. Has he caught the safety car, or can he get back in? I think he probably has enough pace in hand to get back in and take on a new set of softs and just man-mark the Ferraris right now.
Into the pit lane come Mercedes. We look out of the commentary box and they make their way now. The instruction is all cars through the pit lane and they will not leave him out. Antonelli will come back to the pits. And the safety car makes its way through, and so does our race leader. He's got a restart to deal with, but he will be on the soft tyres like the Ferraris.
Incredibly, George Russell's going to have to stack behind his teammate because he's been lapped as well.
Oh, wasn't quick on the left rear. It's enough, 4.5, and now over to Russell. Cautious, sending him back into the fast lane of the pit lane. Antonelli, Hamilton, Leclerc, Russell, Hadjar, the top 5.
Hadjar, I think, has come out ahead of Russell. Yeah, Hadjar jumped Russell. So George, by virtue of being lapped by his teammate, has had to stack behind him and lose more time. So Hadjar goes through. Remember, I mean, this is just so difficult for him.
But again, he didn't have to take the tyres. He didn't have to stack. We're not talking, you know, the majority of the race left on board with Lance Stroll. Gets through the first part of Raskas OK into Anthony Noakes. Yeah, he actually, that was like a driver error. It looks like he turned in late. Now, whether that was because there was pushing going on, he was on the marbles.
You could hear the marbles on board, and I think he might have just, maybe, I'm sure, a little bit of pushing, bit of understeer, bit of sort of the engine pushing him on, but I think he got on the marbles and just didn't turn at all.
Kimi Antonelli on the radio.
What do I do? I was too late. Okay. They're gonna pit, man.
He did the right thing, slowing down, waiting for the call, didn't he? But it was just all a bit too late for him.
They had so much margin. That's why building up the big buffer has allowed him to get that wrong effectively, but easily stay ahead of the two Ferraris who pitted. So you got all these lap cars in between, and then at some point we'll pan back and see the Ferraris who will line up in the end behind Antonelli when the lap car's clear, but Mercedes buying themselves plenty of margin there. So Russell took his 5-second penalty then as well, which must be why Hadjar was through. I didn't think I saw it, but...
Yeah, cycling back through. But Hamilton taking that 5-second penalty, it leaves him ahead of Charles Leclerc. Hadjar able to get back ahead, but that's a car with an issue. So we're going to get a gaggle of 2 races from the restart. Antonelli, Hamilton and Leclerc, and then Hadjar, Russell, Gasly, Piastri.
I don't even know why I'm listening. I honestly, at that point, I know we need to become better, but why are you not letting me out? I didn't even understand your explanation, to be honest.
Well, on the weekend, when he's extended his contract for multiple years, putting all his eggs in the Ferrari basket, his frustration is clear.
So best case for Leclerc, he stays out, he gets track position over Hamilton, he's in 2nd place. Doesn't affect Ferrari's life. Best case for Ferrari is you have the car on new soft tyres behind the Mercedes and you have a chance to attack. Now, obviously, Mercedes have covered him off, but if
that was Hamilton, though. You're putting Hamilton in that situation.
But if you don't pit Leclerc, then he'll still be behind Antonelli, and he'll be in 2nd place on worse tyres than if Ferrari pit both cars and they're both on new softs. So it makes Leclerc's life worse. It lets Hamilton off the hook with his penalty, but overall for Ferrari, they're still 2nd and 3rd, but the car in 2nd has soft tyres.
Yeah, but it commits, I guess it commits Leclerc to finishing behind Hamilton, and that's his thing. He's thinking, well, look, second's better than nothing.
Okay, so Antonelli makes his stop, and then George Russell comes in and does not serve the penalty.
No, he doesn't. I didn't think he did. So Hadjar didn't dive into the box. He's gone through the pit lane because the safety car came through the pit lane. All the cars did. He is still on old hard tyres, so that's why he's ahead. There's a lot going on here with the pits. But Russell did not serve his penalty.
So Hadjar has got a car problem, and this has been an unusual Grand Prix, but this is the latest safety car restart in the Monaco Grand Prix since 2017. The lap cars may now overtake. The instruction has been to move from the pit lane to the main racetrack once more. And this is going to take a while to make our way through. Now, in terms of those 5-second penalties, we now know that Piastri has served his. Message comes from race control. The graphics that you can see still with the 5 seconds hanging over them. But Hamilton's has not been noted yet.
And I think Russell's going to get in trouble for that, for not serving a penalty when you are mandated to serve the penalty in the pit stops. So Mercedes were obviously so focused on servicing the race leader coming in, they've then double stacking, someone's getting to work quickly.
I wonder if they're counting the moment he was just sitting there waiting for the car in front to be serviced.
I think you've got to be stationary in the box. I don't think stationary in the pit lane
I think you're absolutely right. But remember, way back, I think it was at '94, the Benetton team figured out where the pit lane was, and for some sort of penalty, they finished the race and then served it effectively after the checkered. And I'm confusing myself there now, but there have been loopholes over the years.
There have been. I think you're thinking of when Schumacher won the British Grand Prix by going over the start-finish line in the pit lane.
Yes, that's right.
And
that's exactly what I was thinking.
That was, they got away with that one because the penalty was delivered too late. It used to be a rule that you had to issue a penalty in 20 minutes. You used to have stop-go penalties at the end of the pit lane, not served with your team, but in a special box. But that's a strange one for George Russell. There was an opportunity there. Hadjar is in 4th position, Russell in 5th, Gasly in 6th place. Piastri has served his penalty in 7th, then it's Lawson, and then we have Lindblad, who continues on, and then Albon and Sainz. Safety car still out. At the Monaco Grand Prix, Kimi Antonelli had an enormous gap that's been eroded at the moment that was deployed for the crash of Lance Stroll's Aston Martin. And we are circulating behind the safety car, and we are awaiting the lap cars to form up in the queue, and the Hamilton penalty graphic is confirmed by race control that has been served. So Piastri and Hamilton did serve the penalties. Russell, Gasly and Colapinto did not.
And have I served my penalty or not? I spent about 10 seconds in the pit lane. Lost position to Hadjar.
Let's talk about it after.
Yeah, I just need to know if I'm getting a 5-second penalty and I'm stood behind Hadjar on hard tyres.
I'll give you the messages as the messages come through, okay?
Yeah, all right then.
Play it cool, George, play it cool, because I don't think you have. He's going for it's a 5.5 second stop, but going for the DC loophole. And the team obviously saying, shh, shh, shh. Let's not put our hands up and question the fact that we have done this.
The safety car is in on this lap. It's been a very, very unusual occurrence of the Monaco Grand Prix. The 83rd running all-time in this event. And the safety car is ending at the end of this lap.
Gasly did not serve his penalty because he did not pit. So he is still, as you can see, on a hard tyre. The same with Colapinto. So they are in a different boat here. Gasly's got ahead of Piastri, but still has a 5-second penalty, as is right. Russell should have served his penalty, and Mercedes will be arguing that, I am sure, as George is already making his case over the team radio. Anyway, safety car restart for Kimi to deal with now.
Well, Lewis Hamilton, with a huge amount of experience in Formula One, 3 times a Grand Prix winner around here. Start number 386. This is start number 30 for Kimi Antonelli, 19 years of age. The Grand Prix was won. There's only one hand on the trophy around here. when you've not got to the end of the 78 laps, because you can always get a safety car, you can always get a curveball, and now he's got to keep Lewis Hamilton behind. Hamilton trying to win his first Grand Prix for Ferrari. Antonelli trying to win in Monaco and make it 5 in a row. The green flag flies on the start of the main finish straight. Oh, but into the wall and out of the race. Charles Leclerc from the podium to the wall, and it goes wrong on the restart for the home favourite.
There was no grip at all. You could see Antonelli, when he put his foot down, was just slithering around, had nothing. The tyre warm-up wasn't there on the soft. Hamilton followed him through, and Leclerc's obviously just found the barrier going straight, not finding front grip. That opens the door for a podium, possibly for Isack Hadjar, and it's heartbreak for such a frustrated man this weekend.
Isack Hadjar has won Formula One Grand Prix podium. He is in third at the moment with an ailing car. He will not believe it if he finishes there. The cars have been called to go through the pit lane, and the home favourite, Charles Leclerc, retires on the safety car restart. Antonelli, then Hamilton, then Leclerc. Final corner, we're going back. That's bizarre.
He's just got no grip, no warm-up at all.
Honestly, I'm not even going to take the blame. These brakes.
Skating by into the wall and out.
Hadjar nearly rear-ended him as well on his way. Look how close Isack gets there to going straight, and just has to really slow it down. He's been struggling with the brakes all weekend. It's not a big braking zone there, but when you got the cold tyres, cold brakes as well, probably sitting around behind the safety car, not feeling like he's getting any bite for it when he suddenly wants to fire it up. And that's been his real Achilles heel this weekend, getting the car stopped in the big stops.
For the first time this season in a Grand Prix, a Ferrari will not reach the flag. And Ferrari's 100% finishing record is gone. And Charles Leclerc, his record around here is just pure pace. Every single year he turns up. And in 2024, he's secured that emotional victory on the podium last year. Looked like he was going to be on the podium again. And not getting on with the brakes has been the story of his weekend, and this time it costs him on the restart. Race controllers now said they're going to stay on track. They're not going through the pit lane this time around. You've got to get that right, otherwise that's a penalty as well. And he's provided us with Monaco magic and Monaco misery, and pretty much nothing in between.
Body language tells you which way this one's gone. What a horrible weekend for Charles. Frustration throughout. He's been really quick. That's the thing. He's been super quick.
And the emotions spilling out. He knows that camera's there as well. He goes back to his race engineer, Brian Bosley, for the immediate debrief. It wasn't just him on that restart struggling. Antonelli it was obvious that he did not have the confidence.
And he's got to do it again.
Got an update from race control. George Russell has been noted for failing to serve the time penalty correctly, and that could be an extra penalty for the driver second in the points.
We've seen that as a 10-second penalty in the past. So, yeah, Toto Wolff did not want that aired over the radio, but that's better news for Hadjar now, because the two behind him have to serve penalties. We know how difficult it is to overtake, and I think Red Bull have absolutely nailed this by just keeping him out there, taking track position. And he's in now third position. Still not quite sure what happened to Oscar Piastri earlier on, that he wasn't vying with Hadjar or ahead of Hadjar at the stops, but then he had his own penalty to serve, which he did. Lindblad hasn't changed tyres.
No.
So he is still due a pit stop.
Yeah, you have to. So there's no mandatory stops in Formula One, but you've got to use 2 compounds in a dry race. That's the rule. Different in other categories, but there's no mandatory stop. So if we got a red flag, he'd be able to. Oh my word, we have! Oh my word, that's bizarre. We've got a red flag, and Arvid Lindblad gets exactly what he was looking for. So he can now, as per the rule book, change his tyre set, and he will be on for an 8th place finish. Racing Bulls will be delighted with that news. Williams will be disconsolate at that news, because it's going to cost them a position. And the red flag flies in Monaco. This is George Russell. So he's in the fast lane, He now goes into the slow lane, and he didn't serve the penalty that he got for speeding in the pit lane.
The right front knew what they were doing. The left front went straight on.
They were waiting.
Yeah.
So it's a communication error for serving the penalty, and in the confusion of a late safety car deployment for Lance Stroll in the barrier, this race has turned completely on its head. It was strange. There wasn't a lot to remark about. We had Lando Norris, Oliver Behrman, Valtteri Bottas and Max Verstappen retiring. But when Lance Stroll hit the barrier on the restart, we have seen Charles Leclerc go to the wall, and now we line up in the pit lane and we await a restart in Monaco. There is a potential here, if the race director chooses, a standing restart option, but I got to tell you, it's totally in the discretion of Rui Marquez. Your analysis program is going to be about 3 hours long.
Well, that's a good sign for a Monaco Grand Prix. There's not been a lot of overtaking. There's been plenty of action. Gasly's got another penalty. So he hasn't served his first. He's picked up a second. He's had a brilliant weekend behind the wheel. Whatever is going on with these drivers coming through the pit lane at 60 kph, it is going to be incredibly punishing for Gasly. 10 seconds to serve. Now Russell may well have a bigger penalty coming as well. It could be a standing restart. Lindblad has absolutely got himself to where he needs to do. Racing Bulls have gone brave with the strategy. They've done probably the only option that might get them there, and luck has played its part to get them there. 7th and 8th.
All right, party people, let's give you an update on what we think is going on with the pit lane. There are suggestions from teams on the radio that it is cutting the distance across the line in front of Cadillac, that is shortening the distance and therefore, on average, speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah, okay. So when I was racing, you had to be consistent with your line when you were doing pit entries through the weekend. So especially on the pit entry, you used to be able to cut a little bit, and the team would say if you're going to cut a little bit all the time, because it's done on averages through the pit lane. And so you can now do that on the exit as well, where Cadillac are. You can obviously nibble a little bit to the left-hand side, and drivers that haven't been doing it through the weekend, where it's been calibrated, are now doing it in the race. Let's have a look with Gasly. So you come in, you cut the left there. You've got to do it all the weekend, because that is how you get the sensor to be perfect through these averages. We're then coming through. Is he then going to cut down the left on the exit?
Let's have a look whether he cuts across. So your distance there is potentially what is shortening it and causing the speeding in the pit lane penalties.
So he does, and Colapinto does. Now, Colapinto is not a great reference because he's also got one of these penalties, and I wonder if that's not been possible to the team so far through the weekend. Maybe had Cadillac out in the garage, or you've had something there that means that on the way in there's no garage there, so it's free choice. On the way out, that is Cadillac space. So that is the difference there. Hey, we've got a sensible solution in the end to this. But why have Alpine allowed Pierre Gasly to go through and do it again and not had a check of what was going on? They've got the data available to them.
I can tell you the red flag is for this track breakup. So the race director will inspect this. They're going to sweep the track. Got to say congratulations to the Monaco Grand Prix marshals. They've been exemplary all weekend. They clear the cars so quickly in every category. They'll sweep it, but there will be a call to be made by the race director about whether he thinks that that is an acceptable surface of the racetrack. And if he doesn't, he can call a halt to the Monaco Grand Prix and freeze the order. That is available to him in the rulebook as well.
Maybe gives more explanation as to why Stroll had that strange look, even though you could see the marbles there. Track breakup, losing grip, and drivers still turning in. You've got Stroll going in, and then the next time they're trying to attack with any speed, you've got Charles Leclerc going in as well.
That's Arvid Lindblad in conversation. And we've got a shootout to win the Monaco Grand Prix. I can tell you that Max Verstappen's already gone home. He only lives 500 meters away. But his teammate, what an opportunity for a first podium. I mean, he must have thought his Grand Prix was done, and instead he might finish it on the podium that he would desperately, desperately want. He's alone with his thoughts for the moment.
He was saying earlier on how just emotionally tiring a Monaco weekend is. He's been brilliant here last year as well, had a great run in the Racing Bulls car, and it is just the concentration levels, the intensity of this weekend is like nothing else. When you hear him on the radio, you absolutely feel it, don't you, for him? Imagine living on the rev limiter like he does for such a long period of time. He's driven a great race to be in third, frustrated George Russell, managed to stay ahead of Piastri somehow, and now he's got a golden opportunity of a podium, and he will be exhausted later.
He won't be the only one. What a strange Grand Prix. It could yet all change. Let's hear from the first story in the race then. Max Verstappen, we wondered whether he could put the pressure on Kimi Antonelli to the first turn. He couldn't. He was the first retirement instead. Let's hear from him now.
Hey Max, obviously hard luck out there. Just how frustrating is it for that to happen given the amazing qualifying you had yesterday?
Well, I mean, after such a nice weekend for us, you at least hope to be on the podium, right? Yeah, when you of course then retire basically straight away, is I think painful for everyone. There's also no need to be super upset because I think everyone is already really disappointed about it. And yeah, it's just a shame for everyone. I mean, I really hope that I could do something, or at least make it an exciting race, try and put the pressure on, because I really felt good this whole weekend. And now to basically come away with 0 points is, yeah, probably even more painful.
So what kind of happened in those moments when the lights were going out, and then I saw you did eventually get going, but then pulled off to
I think already the formation that wasn't particularly great, but then in the pre-start already the engine was responding very weird. So normally at one point you find your RPM target, but the engine was basically not doing that. And then when I dropped the clutch, it basically dropped dead. I only had the battery at one point that helped me go forward. Yeah, after that the engine sounded really bad as soon as I had a bit of power back, and I'm sure if I would have just gone flat out within the lap, I would have destroyed it completely. So they told me to bring it back slowly.
Hard luck, Max. Thanks.
Max Verstappen in conversation with Lawrence Barretto precisely 90 minutes before he wanted to be. Kimi Antonelli's done everything right today, and he holds the position that he would have wanted. It is the latest restart that we've had in Monaco since 2017, and it could yet all change. It looks tricky out there. It looks especially tricky at turn 19 because the track is breaking up. Rui Marquez, race director, is... let's look out the commentary box window now. Yeah, he's having an inspection of it at the moment. This is the crowd in front of the commentary boxes. Going to do a little bit of tourism for you. The race has been paused if you're just joining us. Antonelli has dominated this event, and he has just had so much pace in comparison to Lewis Hamilton, who looked like he was going to be on the podium with his teammate Charles Leclerc, but Charles Leclerc skated wide on the restart. It promotes Isaac Hadjar to third position. George Russell is under investigation for failing to serve his time penalty correctly. That usually results in a 10-second penalty. Pack is back together. And then it is Gasly, Piastri, Lawson. Arvid Lindblad was looking for a red flag, and he got it. There's Rui Marquez. He was for a long time the Formula 3 and Formula 2 race director, learnt his trade there, and then got promoted to the big job. And he is now, at this moment, assessing whether the racing surface is acceptable. Is it likely that we would effectively have, with that breakup, marble style on the racing line? If he feels it's too far, he can call a conclusion to the race. That is available as an option for him. Conversely, if you like a little bit of drama, he could send them round and do a standing start. So all things are possible, Jody and Paolo.
Into an unknown track surface, heading into Anthony Nose. I mean, it's tough to know which way this is going to go. They're all having a look and seeing it. We've completed so much of the race, 68 laps. Still sweeping the marble. I mean, there was so much marbles down there. And Marshall's, as ever, doing a good job. They cleared Leclerc's car so quickly, didn't they? I was surprised when the red flag went, but can see the track breakup. New bit of tarmac down there, and it's not stood up to a full weekend of running.
Well, for Kimi Antonelli, he will be thinking, you know what, we've seen enough today. Staring at a 5th consecutive Grand Prix victory. He would be the first Italian to win since 2004. And he would extend his advantage in the World Championship beyond 2 Grand Prix wins.
Lindblad staying cool, isn't he? Staying chipper. Down there with Oliver Rowland. Was a development driver at Renault when I was there. Ollie Rowland, super quick. Gasly's just been told he's got another penalty coming. Oh, the frustration. He's done what he will deem as absolutely nothing wrong. Great qualifying effort for him to be 9th. Putting together a good weekend. Got a place at the start, got ahead of Norris, absorbed the pressure. 10 seconds worth of penalty for something so silly and innocuous. And that is displayed by the amount of other drivers that have done the same thing.
We're under red flag conditions at the Monaco Grand Prix after Lance Stroll. And then Charles Leclerc hit the barriers. And an incident involving Isaac Hadjar under the safety car is now noted.
Saw Derek Warwick on the grid, part of the stewarding panel.
Wandered past him at green light and nearly said good luck.
Yeah,
he's a very busy man at the moment.
I said, you'll be hoping for a nice quiet day. Not a lot of overtaking, few incidents.
You sign up to Monaco and you think, there won't be too much, will there? There won't be too much to do.
Nice weekend on the harbour side.
Au contraire.
Just have a look at some track limits or something. Oh my word, they have been busy. Round of applause for Charles Leclerc for his efforts this weekend.
Good to see Fred Vasseur back after having to miss yesterday under medical observation. We find ourselves playing the waiting game. It's up to the race director. It is entirely up to him whether he thinks the conditions are raceable out there, whether he thinks they can continue with this Grand Prix, or whether he will call an end to it. And all the penalties will cycle through. We'll get a final classification. But there's a lot hanging over plenty of drivers right now. It's not dampening the spirits down in the harbour.
That could be worse places to be. As sporting event goes, this is right up there. And as sporting watchable locations go, that is right up there. Back of a yacht by some of the fastest, most exhilarating corners on the calendar.
Okay, well, we've got a resumption order. That is listed for you. It's the order when we got the red flag. But we'll wait to see whether we go to the 10-minute restart procedure that race control would notify all the teams for. They get told, and then there's a procedure, we count down, and then it's up to Rudy Marquez whether we have a rolling start or a standing start.
So still under discussion, but we're certainly heading towards a restart with a start order and getting the cars settled in that place. So Ayao Komatsu there smiling with Esteban Ocon. He's ahead of Nico Hülkenberg, 11th place, chance of a point. He'll need some more drama to happen for that to be the case, but maybe Gasly's 10-second penalty will be there with only 10 laps to try and get that sorted. I have no idea how Ocon got ahead of Hülkenberg in there. Neither of them pitted for tyres when the safety car was out.
Lots to be resolved at the Monaco Grand Prix. It's a good time to check in with Ruth Busker.
With 10 laps to go, we have more to play for than we thought we might have. Now here, after lap 55, historically, the chance of safety car goes up. We have reliability issues starting to creep in. Things like the brakes, they're screaming on fire. And also, when it comes to strategy, both the drivers and the teams get more aggressive, making lunges. And then what we have here is a phenomenon. Yellows breed yellows, accidents breed accidents. The safety car compresses the field. On every restart, there's a chance of another incident. With 10 laps to go on a restart, if we get a standing start, it could all change once again, and we could have another safety car or even another red flag. looking at the cars at the front, no one has got a brand new soft left. So they're going to be choosing the best soft tyre they have available to try and get that grip off the line, with Lewis Hamilton being in the prime position to be able to sneak that win off of Antonelli. Further back, well done to VCARB. They actually kept Lindblad out to defend Lawson at the restart, and in doing so, when the red flag came, both cars cashed in with an extra stop. And also well done to Williams, who've managed to do some bit of teamwork by backing off of up to 1.5 to 2 seconds, which has secured Albon currently in P7. Can he stay within the seconds of Gasly to be able to do it? I'm expecting drama from the front to the back of the grid on this restart. It isn't over, it's a race of attrition, and frankly, we still don't know who the winner's going to be.
Thank you, Ruth. It ain't over till it's over. So it's a drive-through penalty for George Russell. It's a drive-through penalty for failing to serve his original speeding in the pit lane penalty correctly. And his difficult weekend just got even harder. A consequential moment. If you make a pit stop after receiving a time penalty, that is the moment to serve it. He did not do so. The car was serviced, and that is a drive-through penalty with the field backed up. Kimi Antonelli's brilliant day just got even better. It feels like a huge milestone in the World Championship.
Well, this weekend could have gone this way or that way or this way again for George. 6th on the grid, losing Max Verstappen at the start of the race. Isaac Hadjar in trouble. He jumps him for 4th. That would have become 3rd with Leclerc being out of the race, and what a save that would have been from another difficult weekend. Instead, it has flopped entirely the other way. A drive-through penalty. I mean, that's going to obviously put him right at the back of the field here, and that is nil point, with his teammate looking for a maximum score, high on confidence, fastest lap of the race, pole position, heading for 5 in a row. But he may well have to do a standing start again. He's coped with 1, but he's now got a Ferrari on the front row, and we know how good they are at start. So that's the one thing that now George will hope that something befalls his teammate. Teammates, not really when it comes down to a championship. They are your first rival, and they are title rivals. So, I mean, George is not going to be in a good spot, though, is he?
Well, it is incredibly tough when you know that everywhere you go. This was the big question. We came into this weekend, and there were plenty speculating that Ferrari were going to have a chance. They were so many people's favourites ahead of the start of the weekend. Kimi Antonelli found an inspirational lap. So did Max Verstappen. Verstappen didn't have the reliability to get off the line. But in the Grand Prix distance, this has been dominant. There is the track that's the part of the track, clearly a resurface ahead of this year's Grand Prix. And it's taken a bit of punishment with 22 Formula One cars going over it. Stay with us. We could yet get something genuinely extraordinary. But George Russell is facing a drive-through penalty. He'll be just desperate to get out of here and try and reset. It is a big moment as it stands. When he serves that, drops to the back of the field, Lewis Hamilton's going to overtake him for 2nd place in the point standings. Would have seemed unthinkable when we left Melbourne that would be the case, but that is what we have seen transpire, and the incident involving Hadjar is under investigation for that safety car infringement about 20 minutes ago.
Have we any idea what that was? I don't. Came through the pits, managed to get ahead of George, but then Hadjar becomes the latest one for the stewards to have a look at. So who is going to step up for a podium here? Of course, it depends what sort of penalty it is, because a 5-second penalty, Hadjar could probably absorb. You're going to have Russell, you're going to have Gasly there with penalties of their own to serve. So you are then looking at Piastri to try and get close. I don't know if Isaac knows that he's under investigation or not, but he is a cool customer right now.
Awaiting word from race control. the last update about Hadjar, but we stand by under the red flag conditions. Gives us a chance to hear from another one of our retirements. Winner of the Grand Prix here last year, didn't finish this. Lando Norris has been speaking to us downstairs.
Hey Lando, you just haven't had much luck this year from a reliability perspective. Just sum up how you're feeling right now after today.
Pretty good. I'm actually happy to be out of the race. Now, I mean, look, I'm fighting for a P8. I guess there's a penalty now. This was my chance to be there and get a few points. And you know, at this point of the year, we're not expecting a win or a podium, but you know, we need to maximize 6th, 7th, 5th, little points along the way, and they all add up. And I'm working hard. The team are working hard, and we're just not getting rewarded. We're just being, I guess, unlucky. Some of it's our fault. Some of it's failures. Some of it's just being unlucky. So I don't know. We're doing the best we can. I'm doing the best I can. But when you just can't finish a race, I don't know what I should really expect.
Well, Lando Norris, understandably philosophical. He will look to the end of the year and trying to ratchet up wins. He had a superb drive in Miami. Pushed Antonelli all the way. Antonelli resisted the pressure. It's part of the 4 wins in a row that Antonelli's put together. The first driver ever to win his first Grand Prix in Formula 1 and follow it up with 3 more. Might be 4 more by the end of the day. So, penalties hanging over, potential penalty hanging over Isaac Hadjar, definite penalty given to George Russell of a drive-through. A restart order has been issued, but we are waiting for word from race control about when we will get going. And this is George Russell, this is Isaac Hadjar.
It's going to be a Hadjar safety car infringement.
Hadjar's 10 car lengths.
Yeah.
Way more than 10 car lengths.
Copy.
That is the rule. It's absolutely clear. That is the rule. Does anyone fancy standing on the podium at Monaco alongside Kimi Antonelli and Lewis Hamilton? Very, very strange. Big opportunity for Hadjar, but they will be able to look at the onboard. They will be able to judge whether it is 10 car lengths, and if it is over 10 car lengths, that will be a penalty applied to Hadjar. Russell having to serve that penalty with Gasly with a penalty as well. And Oscar Piastri, an odd day, might be rewarded with a trophy for it.
One of those days, isn't it? You've got just excellence out front. Antonelli, with the performance of his life at the moment, it's just everything's going right for him. Hamilton's doing absolutely solidly. He got away with the penalty that he picked up by virtue of his teammate coming in and stacking behind him and not being able to benefit from that 5 seconds. It's not looked super quick at any moment in the race, but he might have a chance to do something, although I've just seen he's also been noted for a safety car infringement. My word.
Max Verstappen trying to get his car off the line to contend with Kimi Antonelli. He went a few meters and retired. Valtteri Bottas called back by the Cadillac team for his 2nd retirement of the season. His first was in the opening Grand Prix of the year. Oliver Behrman called back as well. Pulling up at the pits. He retired on lap 30. Lando Norris had George Russell directly behind him. He reported an issue on the radio earlier on, and then another problem. Lance Stroll. Now watch the part of the track that he goes over. Yeah, scraped over the breakup and into the Tech Pro to begin a sequence of events that would have big consequences for the podium positions. Antonelli, Hamilton, but not Leclerc after this moment into the wall.
Yeah, so what looks to be marbles from the tyre is breakup from the track, and that's why you could see it on the left front of Stroll. And you could hear it as he went wide. So he's got on that, on the marbles, which is not rubber, it's little bits of asphalt. It's put Stroll off, and then Leclerc as well. So sweep up hopefully will do a bit of a job. 10 laps to go if we get this thing going again. And Hamilton confirmed under investigation for a safety car infringement. One of those days, isn't it? Adrian Newey looking on, thinking, hang on, am I going to get a point here? Alonso's 14th. Colapinto's got a penalty coming.
The race will resume, and it will resume in 10 minutes' time. The signal given. So they believe the 19th corner is raceable. And we will have a tight pack, we will have a restart. It is dry, it is absolutely possible that we're going to have the 5 red lights going out once again. Hamilton under investigation, Hadjar under investigation, Russell with a drive-through penalty, Gasly with a penalty, Oscar Piastri finding himself in 6th position. The points currently rounded out by Liam Lawson, Arvid Lindblad, Alex Albon and Carlos Sainz.
Laser focus once again. A man that's taken everything in his stride has got one more big test to bring home a Monaco Grand Prix win. It's rare they make them easy. Somehow, the pole sitter in Monaco doesn't usually get a straightforward run to win it. And Antonelli has got to get this thing off the line with Hamilton in 2nd place now. That Ferrari has been a rocket ship off the line. The consistency of launch has been so good. Hamilton, without a Ferrari victory as well, will be so hungry to put the pressure on to Antonelli. Do you think Antonelli would think championship if Hamilton's halfway around the outside, or is he going to think Monaco win?
Let's have a look whether Lewis Hamilton is 10 car lengths back from Kimi Antonelli. Can't even see Kimi Antonelli. That's currently under investigation.
Right. Yeah. I think this rule gets flexed all the time. So Antonelli goes, accelerates with the safety car. Now it looks pretty dramatic there for Hamilton. It is a rule. It's there. George Russell certainly knows it. I think if you go through, you'd probably see that rule getting stretched a little bit at times. In the end now, it's up to the stewards to decide. We have those both looming over Hamilton and Hadjar, 2nd and 3rd. And certainly Lewis would have come round probably to back corner and thought, oh, that feels like a big gap now towards the race leader.
9 minutes to go until we restart the Monaco Grand Prix, round 6 of the season. And it is a consequential day where Kimi Antonelli looks to be adding another 25 points to his tally. Everyone else getting penalties, running into trouble. He has been serene out front, but it very much looks like he is going to hold all the cards on the restart, purely because everyone else behind him has upset race control.
Has there ever been a start or a restart where the guy on pole is just tailed by 4 drivers with penalties?
Very, very strange occurrence. And Arvid Lindblad in conversation with Alan Permain. You used to work with Alan Permain in your racing days in Formula One. He's not ambiguous with these instructions, is he?
No, I like it because he is the epitome of no nonsense. He will tell you you're rubbish if you're rubbish. He'll tell you got a chance if you got a chance. Some of his radio over the years has been iconic, and he's been there and done it for so long. He's doing a good job with Racing Bulls. I would say he's great for young drivers for that reason. We'll tell them what they need to know, so long as you can cope with it. And he's making some good calls there with the team as well. So 7th and 8th.
Lewis Hamilton back on his way to the car, scooting back to P2.
Everything in Monaco is a bit tight, let alone Lewis coming through on his scooter. Walking to and from the paddock, the pit lane. Getting on your yacht, apparently.
Good save. No one heard. Okay, 7 minutes to go. Hamilton has made his way back to the car. Thank you to each and every one of you that stayed with us through the red flag. Kimi Antonelli has got a restart to deal with. Lewis Hamilton is currently under investigation for dropping too far back to Antonelli behind the safety car. The same thing applies to Isaac Hadjar. George Russell definitely has a drive-through penalty. Pierre Gasly definitely has a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
2 times 5-second penalties, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Correct.
So 10 for Gasly. Drive through for Russell. TBC for Hajar and Hamilton. Possibly nothing. Possibly a time penalty coming for them as well. I think if you're Kimi now, you just got to forget about all of that. You've done an exemplary weekend. Full focus, getting strapped in, just thinking race start. Hook it up and drive this thing to the line.
Okay, let's hear from another retirement from this Grand Prix. Verstappen, Bottas, Behrman, Norris and Lance Stroll have retired along with Charles Leclerc. Let's hear from Stroll now.
Hey Lance, obviously frustrating to not be able to finish that race. Just talk me through that moment at that final corner.
Yeah, we have issues with the engine braking. So every lap, every corner, the engine braking changes. Some laps it's pushing me forward, some laps it's pulling me. So on that corner, it just pushed me forward. Like I have the throttle pedal half, 50% on throttle, and then going into the wall.
And that's all she wrote for the Aston Martin of Lance Stroll. They've had such a tough season. Adrian Newey saying to you before the race, Jordan, they're just waiting to get that big upgrade in the summer on the car, and effectively that's the moment they'll really start their season.
Yeah. Spa, Lawrence Stroll told me on the grid. Adrian's basically confirming it. Waiting, they're not going to bring bits and bobs, they're going to bring the whole lot at the same time. Power unit and get this chassis working as well. There's nowhere to hide behind the power unit around Monaco. There's a lot more that's not going right with Aston Martin. Braking systems are so complex. Got the rear axle with the MG UK doing the braking, trying to recharge the energy into the battery. On the front, you've got your old school brakes, and somewhere in between you've got a brake balance shifting around, and if suddenly you feel like you've got a load of push because the the MG UK is doing something that you're not quite expecting, that's the result there that Lance was describing. And very, very complex cars, some a little bit easier than others, and obviously the Aston Martin right now seems the hardest of them all.
They've been racing these parts since 1929. It is a fabled race. It's seen some incredible days, and it has a safety car restart to come your way that could yet turn into a standing start if the race director deems that the right route to take. Colapinto's just been told that on the radio. It could be a standing start, and that would be a real examination of perhaps the only weakness we've seen from Kimi Antonelli all year.
I can't see any reason it wouldn't be a standing start. The race director, it's at his discretion, he can choose, but the conditions are absolutely fine. The issue with the track was at the final corner, where they'll all be sorted out by the time they get through there. It won't matter if it's a standing or a rolling. So I would have thought that this would be a standing start, but we will wait for confirmation. Of course, if you're Antonelli, just please give me a rolling start. That didn't look easy as it was for Antonelli, with tyre temperatures in play, trying to get that dialed in and feeding the throttle through Raskas and out of the final corner.
We've seen some incredible finishes for the Monaco Grand Prix through the years. It was once decided on the last lap at the final corner when Jack Brabham locked up, gifted the win to Jochen Rindt. We had the race in the early 80s where we had 5 drivers spin out or have spin out of contention or have mechanical problems. Kimi Antonelli does not want to add to that collection, and he finds himself ready to go through the final procedure. Let's very quickly hear from Charles Leclerc, who will not be taking part in this restart. He found the barriers at his home Grand Prix, and he went straight to the pen to speak to us.
Hey Charles, really have I seen you so upset? I can understand that you're hurt and angry right now. Just sum up your emotions.
Yeah, I mean, extremely disappointed, sad, angry, mixed of negative emotions. Yeah, I don't know how much I can go into the details, but I don't think. I mean, it's just not acceptable. and the issues I've faced with my brakes have been. It's not that it's difficult, it's that in this particular moment, it's just impossible. I cannot do anything. The only thing I can do is not brake for the last corner, but in a Formula 1 car, not braking in the last corner ends up in the wall anyway. So I put the least amount of brakes I could possibly do, and it's not even braking, it's leaning my foot on the brake. And the rear brakes was not working at all, so I don't know if there was an issue there or if it's just the inconsistency I get, and the front delivered a lot more than what it should, so that's what happened.
Obviously, second successive weekend, you've struggled with the brakes. How much hope can you have that there'll be a fix in time for Spain?
We have a fix. We have different configurations between cars, and I think we found a solution, so that is positive. I didn't really want to change this weekend, and for that maybe I am to blame in a way that I thought that on a track like this in Monaco it was good to start with brakes that I knew, but considering the issues I've dealt with and that there are no solutions on a track like this, not much to say.
Hard luck, Charles.
Well, for Charles Leclerc, the devastation of seeing a home podium slip away, and the weekend he committed his future to Ferrari, answers for the team to find for their driver. The FIA have reminded everyone to stay within 10 car lengths when we put a green light at the end of the pit lane, and we will trail out of the pit lane in a few moments' time with Kimi Antonelli ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Hadjar under the looming thread of investigation and a potential penalty for falling more than 10 car lengths back. George Russell, when we resume the race, will have to serve a drive-through penalty. Pierre Gasly has 2 5-second penalties for speeding in the pit lane. Oscar Piastri, Liam Lawson, Arvid Lindblad, Alex Albon and Carlos Sainz are the top 10. There has been the message that it is possible to have multiple laps here. Kimi Antonelli now catches the safety car. The race director can run as many laps as he wants to behind the safety car to assess whether the track is raceable at turn 19 before giving the signal to restart the race.
And of course the gaps all look really big between all the drivers as they're catching the safety car, all leaning on it, trying to get some tyre time. You can see Lewis with a bit of opposite lock coming out of Portier, and now they bunch up behind the safety car. And this is when you're more able to just dictate your own pace, and of course have most of it dictated by those ahead of you or the safety car.
Hadjar again is leaving massive gaps.
George Russell once again on the radio, once again saying that Hadjar is leaving big gaps. They've all been warned about it as well. You cannot drop, according to the rule book, further back than 10 car lengths, otherwise you run the risk of a penalty. And as you say, Jody, it's not always evenly applied. Sometimes if it gets missed, you might get away with it. But once one person's put the appeal up, everyone gets scrutinised.
I don't have enough power.
Yeah, keep pushing, keep pushing. Air a lot of power, it's coming back.
So the issue is with it, you can be, let's say you're Hadjar, or let's say you're further down in the pack, you're Lawson. If Piastri leaves 8 car lengths to Gasly and then guns it, he'll very quickly put some car lengths to you. So all of these things get harder and harder to be there with acceleration of Formula 1 cars so extreme that everyone's leaving gaps. Of course, you're not going to drive on the gearbox of the car ahead. So it just gets a little bit more spread the further back you get, and then as soon as someone then drills it through 2 or 3 corners, then suddenly you're like, oh, how did that gap get so big so quickly? And I think that's what you're seeing a little bit with some of the gaps.
Thanks for staying with us. We're about to enjoy a standing start. It gives an opportunity to so many, and the news has come through.
I think they have just swept it.
Yeah, still broken up.
Yeah, copy.
So Antonelli reporting back that the track is breaking up at turn 19. He will have to take a second standing start. The 5 red lights will come on. And when they go out, it will be a genuine fight for the win, because Lewis Hamilton has been cleared by the stewards. No further action on a safety car infringement. We have a genuine battle off the line to win the Monaco Grand Prix.
That's huge. Gather your focus again. We wait for confirmation of Hadjar receiving the same. No further action, but wasn't exactly the same case, but the same crime between the two of them. He'll be hoping the same and not be thinking about that whatsoever as they come past our commentary position and get ready for another go at a sprint format in Monaco.
Well, there are sprint formats and there are sprint formats. Kimi Antonelli trying to get some tyre temperature in those soft Pirelli tyres.
So we'll do the race start, and then we'll get 2 racing laps, and then we will need to do a drive-through penalty.
George Russell being informed of the penalty. Kimi Antonelli lining up. He was miles clear. The Grand Prix was won, but it's never straightforward to win in Monaco. He has struggled off the line in 2026. He needs the best start of his season to get it right.
He is miles back in his grid box as well. I don't know if he's going to creep forward or not, but he is a long way back, which gives Hamilton a bit more of a chance.
8 meters between Lewis Hamilton, a 3-time Monaco Grand Prix winner, and Kimi Antonelli. It is nearly time for the second